Hello, and welcome to episode 34 of Gamers of a Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Antony Chesson, and joining me this week is the other spark on the pod. It's the man who knows he's 2-bit from his 8-bit. It's the most distinguished gent in the world of podding. It's Mr. Darren Whittam.
Thank you so much. Hello, how are you?
I'm not too bad, sir. I'm not too bad at all. How's your week been?
Not been bad at all. It's been a good fun week. I'm in the middle of working out how to move house.
Right.
So I'm sort of getting it on a few different sides, sorting out things with surveyors and solicitors and arboriculturalists as well. Sounds like a Bayonetta magic spell, that. Arboriculturalist.
Wow, it sounds like someone from Harry Potter is what it sounds like.
It does. It's arboriculturalist leviosa. It's sort of it's a tree surgeon.
Right.
It's a fancy name for a registered tree surgeon.
Right.
So I've had to have a tree surgeon around to the house I'm looking at to have a look at the trees because they might fall on the house and stuff like that. So that's been fun. It's been fun, which has kept me away from the games I love more than I should like. But you know, what can you do, eh?
Oh, that's a sad state of affairs indeed. If it's keeping you away from gaming.
It is. I mean, the flip side is that I did a postcode checker on the new place, or the should be the new place, and the broadband is better than where I am at the moment. So I'll have a better upload and a better download. I mean, if you're going to get a better upload, you'd usually say you get a better download as well because that kind of follows. So that's good news as well. It's great, even though I remember mentioning it way back when on one of our very early pods. Was I actually thinking about moving then? I really don't know. But I remember mentioning about looking at estate agent details, and it really, because it's kind of a utility these days, broadband, it should really be on the details for the property you're looking at, because it's quite important, and I'm sure everybody would like to know that detail when browsing around looking for houses.
Oh, absolutely. It's a necessity now. You know, it really is. I couldn't do without my broadband. I remember when we moved into our house, I remember we had like 3 days. I tried to work it out. So, you know, the day we moved in, broadband was there, Sky was there, you know, and all of that. But I think I had like a day to wait for Sky and 3 days for broadband. And it was hell, Darren. It was hell.
Pain. I know. So I need to get everything sorted so I've got a date so that I can go through the rigmarole of porting over my broadband.
Right.
I think it's better these days. It's more streamlined than the last time I did it. So it'll be interesting to see. I was looking on my ASP's PlusNet, and I was looking on the site, and it said, it was like, just let us know. The earlier you let us know, the better, preferably 2 weeks or more, and we'll just do the rest for you. It's like we've taken all the difficulty out of it, so that remains to be seen. But it would be great if they can actually sort of, you know, switch you off at one address, switch you on at another. I'm gonna find out, I suppose. Hopefully, I'll be finding out, and I'll let you know how it goes. Will it be plain sailing? I'm not sure. But enough about all that faffing around. How's your week been?
My week's been really good, actually. It's been really cool. I went to see on Friday, I went with a group of guys from work. I went to see The Hateful Eight. Went to see Hateful Eight in glorious 70mm Panavision. The Odeon Leicester Square has been retrofitted with a Panavision screen. And so we went to see The Hateful Eight in that, and it was, what an amazing movie. I absolutely loved it. It's, you know, I do that thing where I kind of watch 52 movies in a year. I've got like my little hashtag with 52 movies in 2016. You know, I've seen 5 already this year, and so far, you know, this is kind of top of my movie. It merges two things for me. It merges amazing dialogue for maybe the first hour and a half of the movie. We actually got an intermission. So in this kind of Panavision tour, and there's only kind of certain Odeons or certain cinemas that are doing it around the world. But in this thing, we had a little bit of an intro, a musical intro. Then we had half of
an overture.
Exactly, an overture. That was the word I was looking for. Thank you, sir. I did say it on the screen. If only I can remember.
I only know it because it says it on Oliver Twist.
Yes, exactly. That was it. And this is the kind of thing that they're trying to replicate. And so we had that, and then there was a intermission. And then, so before the intermission, you got dialogue, and it was amazing dialogue, and I was just getting immersed in it. And then after that, it just turns in, no spoiler alert, but it just turns into an amazing Tarantino movie. And so I just enjoyed the entire kind of experience of it. Wasn't a huge fan of Odeon Leicester Square. We were up in the Royal Circle, so the screen is a bit far away, even though it's a nice big screen. And you kind of forget, once you kind of focus and zone in on the movie, you kind of forget. But I wouldn't want to watch a 3D movie there, or like Star Wars or something, because you're way too far away from the screen. And there's also this ginormous semicircle stage as well in front of the screen, which even puts you even further away. But the whole 70mm was incredible, and it was an experience. So that was just fantastic. Have you seen the movie yet?
I have, yeah.
It's really good. It's such a great film, isn't it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Is it his 8th film?
It is. I think it starts with that, doesn't it? It says the 8th film by Quentin Tarantino. Yeah. So yes,
I was just trying to log whether it actually said 8th or if it's getting mixed up just because it's the Hateful Eight. But yeah, I remember, and I always think, like, I think I thought it on one of his last films, and it said there's so many, like 7th or his 6th, and it always feels like he's done a lot more films than that. For me,
yeah. Indeed, I don't know about you, but once I finished watching that, I think I get it every time I watch a Tarantino movie. I just want to go back and re-watch the entire catalogue. I really enjoyed the last couple that he brought out, Inglourious Bastards, Django Unchained. I really enjoyed those two, as well as, Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction, and, it's just amazing. I really do enjoy watching Tarantino movies. And I was, like I say, we just grabbed a group of guys after work, and we went and had a Shake Shack first. You've always got to go and have a good burger first. And then we went to see Hateful Eight, and it was just a really good night.
Excellent. What time did you watch it at?
It was about 7:15 started. I think I was at the train station for about 11 o'clock.
Yeah, so it's quite a long film. I was just thinking it'd be cool to watch it quite late, but it is quite a long film. Trains would have stopped.
It's 3 hours without an intermission, so we had an intermission as well, so which was quite nice because gave the Odeon Leicester Square seats aren't that comfortable, so it gave you a chance to kind of get a bit of feeling back in your cheeks before the next hour and a half watching. But it was just, like I say, the second half after the intermission, I was just so into it that didn't notice any of it, and it was just fantastic movie.
Yeah, I liked it all. It's like the start is they're just placing the pieces. The pieces are all coming together on the board, and then go on.
No, I was going to say it really kind of feels like a play, doesn't it? Because it's all kind of within that cabin. It just feels like you're watching a play.
Yeah, and because they're sort of monologue after monologue, which you expect, and they're thoroughly enjoyable because the writing's just great. Yeah, I liked it a lot. Who plays the horrid woman, the prisoner woman? I forgot her name.
That's Jennifer Jason Leigh.
That's it. She's just vile. I mean, she plays that well. I mean, she's just so awful.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, they all are to a degree, but yeah, it's good. It's really good, and I didn't see a few things coming. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a good film. As always with good old Quentin. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. I can't even think what my least favourite film would be by Quentin Tarantino. I suppose if I had to pick, it might be Jackie Brown. But I still thought that was all right.
Yeah, no, indeed. I think for me as well, I think Jackie Brown probably would be it's a great movie and it was really good. I think it was on a couple of months ago, and I just kind of got into it and watched it. But you're right, it's kind of, if someone asked me to list all of the Tarantino movies, I'd probably forget and miss off Jackie Brown. So I tell you what was really good, kind of keeping on kind of movie tip before we get on to what we've been playing this week. But on Saturday, I was playing some games, doing some games. I was just about to go to bed, and I think I was watching Jonathan Ross chat show in the UK, and he had Sylvester Stallone. He was pimping Creed, the new Rocky movie, and Sylvester Stallone was on, and he was chatting, and then I just was flicking through the Sky channels, and they had Rocky 4 on, and Rocky 4 is the one with Ivan Drago, that, and I started watching it from the start. instantly hooked. And I ended up just watching montage after montage, but I ended up watching the entire movie, and I really enjoyed it.
It's a great film.
It's such a great film. It was just like, it's bad in places, but it was just, I really enjoyed it. And I just sat there and I was just like, this is just so good. And I think it ended quite late on Sky, but I was just like, I was just so surprised that a movie like that would just kind of would grab me. And I remember it was really interesting because I remember when I saw it at the cinema. I remember, I think it was my brother and I and a friend. We went to the cinema, and I remember kind of jogging home, going, "We're going to take up boxing now."
Yeah, it does that to you. It's very inspirational, isn't it?
It really is. It really was kind of like, this is just, when he's, like I say, I was joking about the montages, but there's a few kind of some really good montages in that movie. When he's training, when he's doing all the rustic stuff and Ivan Drago's doing all the cutting edge computer stuff, and some of that made me really chuckle. They kept cutting back to this computer that had these ginormous glowing diodes, that was just like, what the hell is that?
That was future technology that only the Russians had back then. You were very privileged to get a glimpse into that.
It was just so good. And then, even when like Rocky's just kind of thinking about him and Apollo Creed, and they were just like, they're running on the beach. It was a bad movie.
Oh yeah, they've got those crop tops. They got those crop tops on as they're running out, or definitely Rocky has. It's not good.
They were a little bit dodgy, weren't they? They're running through the water, crop tops on, hugging a lot.
Bromance, man, to say the least.
Exactly, whatever floats there. But it was so funny because like Nicola started watching the start with me, and then she just kept asking questions. What one is this? What one's that? What one's And I was like, that's Rocky 2 and that's Rocky 1. And I was surprised that I actually know a lot about Rocky movies, and I didn't even know I had that knowledge in my brain.
It starts off, and like Rocky's quite rich now because he's had 3 bouts, hasn't he? So he starts off and he's all living in his mansion, isn't he? And
yes.
Did you see the beginning? They've got that robot.
I did, yeah.
And it comes and like it's got like a tray welded to its arms, and it like comes in with like, I don't know, the breakfast on its tray. And I remember seeing that for the first time when I was young, and I was like, wow! It was like that was amazing. And you look at it now, and it's just like, I don't know, it's like a dustbin.
It's just so funny because it's almost got AI as well, because when I think it's Pete or his trainer or whoever it is, he's like, when he's leaving to go to Russia, he's like, but I'll miss you, I'm really sad. And I'm like, that robot had AI, it's just like, it was hilarious. It definitely wasn't based on any tech that was available then when that movie was made.
It was like the Bicentennial Man was actually actually really inspired from that robot.
It was just so bad. It was good, but no, I really got sucked into it. So it didn't make my list of obviously 52 movies I've seen because they have to be new movies. But it was definitely up there. It really made me chuckle on a Saturday night.
Oh wow! Well, I've seen all the Rockies, and I love them all. I think they're all great. I even like, a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't like the third one with Mr. T." I like that as well.
Oh, that's a great one.
I just like it, because it's got Mr. T in it. Stop that jibber jabber and all that stuff, it's great.
Which old jibber jabber,
fool! And like, I think it's good, that one. The only one that I don't like, and I sort of I've snipped it out of my Rocky timeline, is Rocky 5.
Right, was that the last one before Creed?
No, it's the one with Tommy Gunn. Who's like I think Rocky trains him, and then you have a fight. It's like a street fight at the end. It isn't a proper boxing match.
Right.
And I don't even know much about it because I watched it like once and didn't like it. So in fairness, it might be okay, and I just threw my toys out of my pram. After that, there's Balboa, which is the one.
Oh yes,
I like that one a lot. And then he's got his son in it and stuff, and his son sort of is trying to make a go of it in the world himself under the shadow of his dad, which is quite hard. That's quite touching, and it touches on him getting old, and just not on him getting old, but just about getting old and things like that. I thought it was quite bittersweet, a little bit like The Wrestler. It reminded me of a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we've got Creed, which I haven't seen yet. I'd love to see it. I believe it's quite good.
Yeah, no, it's been getting good reviews, and I think Sylvester Stallone got a Golden Globe, didn't he, for Best Supporting Actor?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, have you seen that yet?
No, I haven't. I think it comes out this Friday, or it might have come. It may have come out last Friday when I went to see Hateful Eight. So,
are you going to stick that on your 56 films, or does that qualify? Is that the kind of film you watch?
It does. It just no. They just have to be movies that I have never seen before. So if there is an old movie that I haven't seen and I watch it, that goes on the list. So I did 52 for 2015, and I just really enjoyed it because it really pushed me to see, especially towards the end. I was about 4 short. I was trying to make Star Wars the last movie that I saw in 2015. Yeah. But then I was about 4 movies short, so I ended up watching some really good ones at the end. But yeah, no, it's really good. It's really good. So I had a good list, and it's quite nice when you look down and you can just kind of see those. What I was thinking about doing is kind of just kind of improving on it slightly, and maybe just write a little bit about it, or maybe even like score it or just review it, because last year it was just a flat list. But one of my friends, she said, you really should maybe start a blog or just do something, write more about each of those movies if you like them. So I might do that. I might start doing that, especially kind of Hateful Eight, because it had me, I was just so hooked. I stayed dark on that movie, and then after I watched it, you get a program with the 70mm showing. You get a program which tells you all about the process, and it tells you all about the movie, and I was just absolutely blown away by it. The interesting thing, again, in that program, it said that Tarantino's 2 inspirations for Hateful Eight was The Thing and Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, wow.
And it kind of fits, doesn't it?
I can see that,
you know that, before you'd be like, what? But no one's head turns into a spider. But it's close.
It's close. It is close. I totally see what you're coming from now. You said that, actually, thinking about it. That's really interesting.
No, exactly. That's it, isn't it? Once you kind of see that, it just kind of it drops.
Yeah. I love about all Quentin Tarantino films. One thing I love is the font that they use for the credits.
Right.
They always use that font, and I love that font. And the other thing that I liked about Hateful Eight was that the music was the original music was by Ennio Morricone, who did like the Great Spaghetti Westerns music. So he's the guy that's responsible for the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly theme.
Right.
And all those sort of Clint Eastwood mega westerns that I really love. And I was like, wow, that guy, he's amazing. I was surprised that he was still alive. I was like, oh wow. But I must admit, I didn't notice the music. It wasn't as prominent because there wasn't, it wasn't the same kind of film as one of those westerns. There wasn't like some big sort of, well, maybe it did the intermission music actually, if that was an original score.
It definitely did. The overture was by him, and it was quite interesting. Before the movie started, there was actually an ad that he's doing a live show of all of his Western music and all of the music that he's put together. He's doing like a show, I think, at the Royal Albert Hall this year.
Oh wow, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. My favourite soundtrack is from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I love the whole soundtrack to that film. The bit where they're running round the graves towards the end, and it just builds up to a crescendo, and then there's the shootout. I love that. So that would be something to see.
Yes.
I suppose he must have. I don't know much about him, but I suppose he must have been quite a young guy then when he did the westerns back in the 60s.
Must have been. If he's still around now, like I say, they did have an image. I mean, it was quite interesting because they did play quite a few when they were doing this advert. They were kind of explaining who he was, and they were playing some of his greats, and they must have been from the Good, the Bad, the Ugly. And there was just some really, you're like, oh, I remember this tune, and it was very cool indeed.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome. So
fantastic. So, should we jump into what we've been playing this week?
Yeah. Do you want to go first? What have you been playing, sir?
Well, I've been playing. I've been playing some different games. So I've been playing Star Wars Battlefront. Been playing that. Yeah. Been jumping on that. I've been playing it. It's quite nice, actually. Do you know? I said last week that I bought it on Xbox One, and I've been playing that on both Xbox One and PS4
at the same time.
Yeah, at the same time, I'm working both of those screens. I could do it actually in the move room, but no, I've been playing on kind of both. Their servers had a little bit of a stutter on Sunday. On Sunday, my brother and I wanted to play a bit of multiplayer on missions, and it just would not go in. I must admit, hats off to at EA Star Wars because they were right on it when I tweeted to them to say that is there a problem with the servers, because we didn't know whether to cycle our broadband, cycle our Xboxes if there was a problem, or if there was a problem with the servers, then we weren't going to bother and we'd just go off doing something else. But EA, they gave us some tips that we needed to do, but it turned out to be, I think there was a problem with their servers because the normal online stuff was working fine, but the missions just had a bit of a hiccup on Sunday.
Oh,
but Been playing that again, like I say, on PS4 and Xbox One. So I'm just like really enjoying it. I've been trying to catch up with you. I keep getting a notification that you're online, and it's kind of when I'm having my dinner or doing something like, damn it, I'm missing Darren again. But it's just, I really do. We said a lot last year, but I really do enjoy that game, and I can't wait for some fresh content as well. I'm really looking forward to EA announcing some more content for Battlefront.
Yeah, me too. But I am satisfied with the content I've got because I haven't spent long enough playing it. So I'm looking forward to getting my hooks into it again, or it getting its hooks into me. Because, I need to buy better weapons and things like that. Like you said about getting it on Xbox and you weren't up to where you wanted to be up to.
Yes.
Well, I'm sort of there without even that problem. I just need to put some time in. Last time I started playing it, I ended up doing the fights in the X-wings, the battles. Right. The ship battles, ship to ship. I don't know forgotten what you call that level. And I got hooked on that. I was like, wow, this is really good. And I was thinking to myself, this is so different, even though it's dumbed down a little bit with the controls, but it's so different than the infantry stuff, the FPS stuff. And I was thinking, have I been harsh criticising it for not enough content? Because it's very diverse. And I was really enjoying that. It was totally fresh for me. And then when I went back to the FPS side of things, I was like, oh, wow, this is refreshing too. So, sort of playing it on both sides of the coin, I was really enjoying it. But I'm not the greatest critic of it at the moment because, as I say, I haven't played that much of it. So it is quite fresh and new to me still because I've been playing it just in between other things. But I do love it. It's just so shiny. So shiny. I showed my mate at the weekend, actually, because one thing that did happen this week, I had a friend stay over. He came and visited me from the south. And, all right, Gav, if you're listening. And I showed him Battlefront. And he was very impressed with that. And we played, we did a bit of survival together. And he's not really a gamer, and I'll mention that later as well. But he was very impressed with it, and he's very impressed with the graphics. He was like proper like, wow, this is Star Wars sort of thing. So yeah,
yes,
yeah.
No, absolutely. Like I say, my brother bought an Xbox One recently, and he got that, and he was just, when he fired up Battlefront, he was just like, this is incredible, it was just, and it is just, as you say, quite rightly, it is just so shiny, isn't it? It just, you do feel like you're kind of playing Star Wars. I think for me, I've unlocked the Stormtrooper blaster, and it might not be the most powerful weapon in the game, but for me, it's the weapon I like. So now I've unlocked it, so I can have a Stormtrooper blaster for the Rebels as well, on both platforms, and I'm happy. I'm just like, I need my jetpack on Xbox. I need my jetpack, but apart from that, I'm just loving it. So I've got to get up to about level 15 on Xbox to get that jetpack. But I'm really enjoying it. It's such a great game. So Star Wars Battlefront, been playing that a lot. So like I say, because my brother's just bought it. Whenever he's online, he's like, jump in. So I'm just kind of jumping in. I've been playing Uncharted 2 as well because we're not far from Uncharted 4 coming out, unless it slips again. But we're not that far, so I need to get Uncharted 2 and 3 done. And one of my friends, Kenny, he's finished Uncharted 2 and 3, and we were chatting about it, and he was just going, just waxing lyrical about it, just saying how amazing it was. And I just remembered that I hadn't finished it, so I kind of jumped back to Uncharted 2. I'm about 3/4 of the way through, and just, again, it was one of those ones you just start playing it and you're like, why did I leave this? Why did I leave this game? So I'm just really enjoying it. It looks fantastic on the PlayStation 4, which we've said before, with those kind of up-res graphics. But I'm really enjoying it. So at the moment, that's kind of my go-to game. I haven't forgotten The Witcher or those other games. I will be going back to them, but at the moment, I'm just like, I fancy Uncharted. I think there's something in the news section that we'll talk about a bit later, but there was a game that was supposed to be coming out this week, which was Gone Home. And I was very much kind of, right, Saturday or Sunday, I'm going to be playing Gone Home. That's right. And unfortunately, it got delayed in the UK, not in the US or Canada, but it got delayed in the UK. So I just ended up kind of going, right, what do I want to play? You know, I was looking around at things to play, and then I was just like, oh, Uncharted. You know, I really need to get back to that. So I just jumped back in on Uncharted, enjoying that, loving it. The next one's a bit of a curious one. I've been playing Pokemon Shuffle on iOS. I had a long train journey on Monday, and I was listening to the Explosive Alan podcast, and they were talking about games that they were playing last year, and they started talking about Pokemon Shuffle, and I was like, this sounds quite cool. I'm going to have a look, and I started playing Pokemon Shuffle on the train. And I started playing Pokemon Shuffle on the train back, and I just continue playing Pokemon Shuffle. It's kind of got it's a little bit of an addictive game. It's kind of one of those ones where, you know, it's just on my iPhone. I've got it on my iPhone. You know, it's kind of one of those ones where, you know, you got 5 seconds or you got 5 minutes. You just have a quick go. You get to the next level. It's basically Pokemon Shuffle is basically a match 3 game, but set in the Pokemon world. First of all, I'm surprised that I know so many Pokemon.
Well, and that's before you started playing Pokemon Shuffle, is it?
Well, yeah, because I'm like, oh, look, it's this, you know, and not just Pikachu, but I was like, oh, it's this, and oh, it's that, and my wife's like, well, what are you doing? You know, how do you... but anyway, so it's a match 3, but you have to kind of compete against Pokemon. So as you kind of go through the ranks, the next level is another Pokemon, but then you have to kind of be aware of what element that Pokemon is. So if it's a fire element, you can then stack your match 3 grid with water Pokemon or earth Pokemon, and then you can then, so when you get 3, you're taking down the bar of the Pokemon, and once you beat them, if you've done it in enough moves, or if you've done it quick enough or got enough combos, you can catch that Pokemon, because, you know, you got to catch them all. You know, you can catch that Pokemon, you tap your Pokeball, and then it goes in, and then maybe it shakes around, and then it pops back out, and you didn't catch it, or you caught it, and it goes into your collection. And you know, I just thought it would be the dumb game that I would just install on my iPhone, see what the guys from Explosive Alan were talking about, and if I was like, what the hell are you talking about, just delete it. But it's there all the time on my iPhone. I can't stop playing it. It's amazing.
It's got you. So is it like Bejeweled then? You just touch 3 to match them, sort of thing?
Exactly like that. Yep. So you got your grid. You can see 2. You can drag one from anywhere. It's not as technical as Bejeweled, where it has to, where you can only like flip them around. Yeah. You can actually drag one from the bottom corner to the top corner, match 3, 4, or whatever you're going to do, and then boom, off you go. That one's done, and then that just takes that amount of damage away from the Pokemon that you're fighting.
Cool. I thought you were going to say you've been playing Pocket Mortys.
No, just like Pokemon Shuffle. That kind of sounds like the same thing, but yeah, no, it's been a while since I've played a game on my phone. You know, I use my phone, a lot of apps I use my phone with, but gaming's not one of them. I'm not a big fan of touchscreen unless it's Plants vs Zombies or something like that. So it's quite nice just to kind of play that, because I think the last game I played was probably, you know, 3s or 2048.
The game I play on the iPhone is 3s. And it's been like that since I got 3s. If I've got like a few seconds to spare, it's 3s. And that's it. I love that game.
Yeah, no, indeed. And I think like before then, it was like those games, those kind of asynchronous multiplayer games that you were playing, like, you know, Words with Friends and stuff like that. And yeah, exactly, those sort of stuff. But it's quite refreshing that I'm actually kind of playing. It drains my battery, so I did have to have my phone plugged into the Virgin plug all the way home. But it was really good. And then last off, getting some kudos back, and it will be my train game tomorrow when I'm in London. A Boy and His Blob came out on PS4 and Vita yesterday, which was the 19th of January as we're recording, and it comes out on Xbox today. And What a great game. What a fantastic game that is. It looks like a Studio Ghibli game. It looks like that. And basically you play a boy, and the boy has a blob. It's there. It's in the title. And basically you have different beans. You've got about 40 levels. You have to get through the levels. And you can use the beans for different things. Like there's a bean for a ladder. There's a bean for a portal. There's a bean for a trampoline and things like that. And you just have to navigate these navigate the levels. I think it's about £6 or £7 on Xbox. It's a little bit more expensive, about £9 in the UK on PS4. I think that might be because you get the Vita version as well, but it's well worth it. It's a fantastic game. I downloaded it last night on my Vita, was at home, and I was just walking around the house playing on my Vita. It was just like I was just ignoring everything else and just watching and playing Boy and His Blob. It's very, very cool indeed.
Yeah, I saw some screenshots that you tweeted, and it just looks adorable.
It's incredibly adorable. There's one thing, if you play the game and you're near your blob, press the up on the D arrow and it will just melt your heart. It's just so nice, it's a great game. And the levels, they aren't that challenging at the moment, but I can see they probably will. They've started to it's getting past that introductory stage.
Yeah.
So it's very good. I would like I say, at the moment I'm not long into it, but I highly recommend it, and I can't wait to just continue playing. I want to see if it's cross save, because I would like to go from the Vita. I'd like to go from the Vita to the PlayStation 4. I'd like to be able to do that.
And have that seamless experience.
Exactly, because I think this game would probably look lovely on a big screen.
Yeah. Can't you sort of put your Vita on your TV like you could do with the PSP?
I don't.
Oh no, I mixed up. It wasn't.
No,
it was playing the PS3 on the PSP, wasn't it? That's what it was.
Yeah. It's the other way around, isn't it? You can play the PS4 on the Vita,
you
but
can't
I don't think
can you?
No, but it's but hopefully it's got cross save on it. It probably has, but yeah, so it's fantastic. So at the moment I've got A Boy and His Blob and Volume on my Vita, and that is just like this. That is amazing console. Just those two games. They're very different games. Graphically stunning, and have the playability that is just incredible. So I'm really happy with my Vita at the moment.
Yeah, you just don't want the train journey to end.
Exactly. I want to go into London more. I'm fine to go to Manchester. It's about it's probably 4 hours and change from Tunbridge Wells to Manchester. I'm happy for that. Because once I've done my work, I can just happily sit back and play on the Vita.
There's sort of no excuse. There's no reason not to, which is quite nice.
Absolutely. So that's me. That's I've been playing quite a nice little bevy, quite a mixed bag. What have you been playing this week?
Yeah, that's like a smorgasbord of treats you've been playing, isn't it? Yeah.
It really is. I just love gaming at the moment. It just really is just that kind of, I always do love gaming, but at the moment it just is. There's so many varied treats out there.
Such a diverse collection. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it, how diverse it is? It's like, I remember when Tony Hawk's Skateboarding came out, and I had no idea of anything to do with skateboarding before that game came out, and then I learned about it through the game and loved the game. And it's just like a game comes along, and because the game's playable and because the game's enjoyable, you get an insight into whatever that game's about. It's great. It's a great medium.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been spending some time this week, and probably in the coming week as well. I've been sort of clearing the decks a bit, because I've got some games, as I've said before, hanging over me that I haven't completed, because I went from Metal Gear Solid 5 to Fallout 4, and then I completed Fallout 4 fairly recently, so I've been sort of working on clearing the decks since then. So I did Fallout 4, and I did Transformers last week. So what did I play this week? I played Super Meat Boy, which I'd got up to the end levels. It's called The End. The last set of levels. There's actually more levels after it. I'll get to that. So it's called The End, and I'd got all the way up to level 20 a few months ago. And the last level is the boss level, and I'd given up because it was hard. It's so hard. And at the weekend, I thought I'd have a go, and my mate Gav was round, and he was sort of sitting there mocking me. saying I'd never do it, things like that. I was like, look at this, mate. I said, this is one of the hardest 2D platformers you can get. This level's like the hardest level in the entire game. Do you want to go? He was like, nah. I said, I'll just show you how sort of fiendish it is.
Yeah, here's your introduction to Super Meat Boy, the very last and most hardest level of the game.
And in fact, in the entire world. Yeah.
It'd be hilarious, wouldn't it, if you gave it to him and he just did it first time.
Yeah, and he's like, what are you on about? It's easy.
You'd be there packing all your consoles up. And you were like, I'm done.
Yeah. How did you know that was how the story ended?
Spoiler alert, sorry.
Hung up my pad, packed up the consoles, took down my Best at Games cup from the shelf. But so I played this level. I think it's just might be called The End. I can't remember what it's called. It's the very last level of Super Meat Boy. The actual story bit, anyway. I thought it was the last level. Anyway, I completed this level. It was so difficult. It's one of those levels where you've got the bad guy of the game shooting missiles at you for a start, so you can't keep still for too long because the missiles obviously home in on you. I mean, what would be the fun if they didn't? And you've got sort of a barrier of spinning saws in front of you, like in a big long chain, that you cannot get past. And then up behind you comes another big old barrier just full of spinning saws. And that sort of... So you're in this sort of... You've got to stay between this sort of... These two panels of saws. And they're moving across the screen from left to right. So it impedes... Usually you can just sort of do it at your own pace. But it's keeping you moving because if you delay too long, you get slashed from the back. If you wedge too far forward too quickly, you run into the blades at the front. And if you dither too long in between, you get shot with a missile.
Wow.
Add to that some quite tricky platforming. It's pretty hard platforming. And it's hard. I mean, I'd given up on it. That's how hard it is. I'd already put it away and said, no. Let's call it a day. And for some reason, I had to go. And I got a little bit further than I had before. I figured out a little bit. I was like, if I jump there, I can get past this bit. So then I proceeded to spend the next hour repeating. I mean, this level probably takes about 20 seconds to complete the level. And I spent about an hour inching ever closer to it. And there's no save points within the level, so when you die, you just go back to the beginning. And because it's at this level of the game, it's also hard to get to the furthest bit that you've got to before. You've really got to work at it. So sometimes it'll take you a while just to get to that bit. And then when you've got to the bit which is the furthest you've ever been, it's such a pressured panic because you've actually got there. It's really hard to keep you cool to carry on. But anyway, by some miracle, I did it. And I was like, yay, I've completed it, hooray! And rescued Bandage Girl, because she's the girl that you're trying to rescue. I was like, oh, fantastic. But then it started another level with Meat Boy carrying Bandage Girl in his arms. And I had to get out of the level. And that was really, really hard as well. But thankfully, it wasn't quite as hard as the level before it. And I did that quite quickly. And then the credits rolled. I was like, yay, wow. I've completed Super Meat Boy. And I was like, I went to the PlayStation thing to record the video. And I was in such a whirlwind of ecstasy and joy that I did it wrong. And when I went to play it back, I didn't do it. There was no video there. I don't know why. Because I was going to upload it because I was so proud of it. But only not the whole hour and a half, just sort of the 20 seconds of actually doing it. So I was really happy, and it rolled the credits. But then it opened up a new set of levels which had a question mark on it. It said "The End?" a little bit like the end of Flash Gordon. And then it opened up a new level with I think 20 more levels where you played as Bandage Girl because Meat Boy had been taken by the baddie, by Dr. Fetus. And I was like, okay, let's have a look. And they're just really hard. And I just thought, something, these are ridiculous. I've done it, I've rolled the credits. That's enough for me for now. So I consider Super Meat Boy done. And I was happy about it. Oh, wow. Yeah, it was good, man. Antony, you should have been there. It was such a moment of triumph.
That just sounds like such a night. I bet you were so elated after that. Did you do a rocky lap of your living room once you once you completed it?
What did I do? I just sort of I couldn't believe it. I started to sort of I don't know what get this feeling of euphoria before I'd actually done the level. It's as if I knew I was going to do it, but there'd been so many times before when I felt that would just hit a spike, fell off the platform, and it's like, don't mess it up, don't mess it up. I was sick of doing this, and I just got through the end, and I was just like, I don't believe it, I've done it. And actually, it was for me, this is sort of like the best way to do a game. It's like the first time I beat Sephiroth at the end of Final Fantasy VII. When I completed the game. When I killed him, I had 1 health left. I had 1 HP. And so it was proper, like, it was on a knife edge whether I was going to die and have to do it again. And for me, that's the most exciting it can get, and that's what I love about games, is when it's that close.
Yes.
And it was like that because what happened was, you get to the end, and the baddie, Dr. Fetus, he's stood on a platform, and there's a switch that you've got to get to. And it makes the platform disappear, and he's going proper medieval with his missiles everywhere, and I just went, I don't know what to do, and I just jumped. I just thought, forget it, I'm going for it, YOLO. And I jumped, and I hit the switch. He hit me with the missile, and I died, and I was like, ah, and I started to like go mad because I was like, oh no, not again. And the platform disappeared, and he fell before it registered that I died. So I did the level.
Wow.
and Gav sat there and went, well, you haven't really done it, have you? And I was like, no, I have. The computer says I've done it. And I said, and that's the best way, because you couldn't have got closer. That's perfect for me.
Yes.
And I'm happy with that. Though I reckon I could do it again. And I was just so happy. So yeah, hooray for Meat Boy.
Well done. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet. And I posted, I think I might have posted a little picture on our community, on the PS4 community. I posted a few pictures of my achievements because I was so happy with my sort of clearing the decks gaming week that I've had. And also, as I say, my mate was round, and he's not a gamer, and he's a bit detrimental sometimes, derogatory to gaming. So, but he's always interested to see what I've got, because every time I see him, I've got something new. He's like, what have you got for me this time? I was like, well, how about this? Until Dawn. Well, what's that? He said. And I started to describe it, and he went, oh no, it's like Heavy Rain, isn't it? He goes, it's like that game with the detective. I said, yes, it is like that game with the detective, but this is good. It's better. I quite liked Heavy Rain, but I can see why people don't like it, and it wasn't great. But I'd played a bit more of Until Dawn, you see. And Until Dawn is fantastic, and I love it. And you know what, Antony? We haven't discussed this because it's only been in the last week, but a little bit like you said last week, if I'd have been at the situation I am now with Until Dawn when we did our Games of the Year, it'd have been in my top 3.
Wow, that's high praise indeed.
It's fantastic. I love it. It's such a fantastic game. So anyway, I didn't know that it was such a fantastic game at this point, but I'd played about a third of it. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty good, this. And I gave him the premise. I said, basically, yeah, it's a bit like Heavy Rain. The graphics are really good. It's more like an interactive movie that you control rather than a game per se. I said, so we've got agency over what's going to happen. And I said, I'm going to look at it like it's a horror film, and we've got agency over what's going to happen with the characters in it. I said, really? I don't really know because I haven't finished it. I said, but what I've played so far, I'm really impressed with. And I said, look, Gav, I'm going to give you a choice. We can carry on from where I'm up to, which will miss a lot of the character building, but we'll be closer to where it gets good, if you like, because I sense that it's going to start getting good. Or if you want, I'll sacrifice my save, and we'll just start from the beginning, because it doesn't allow you to have more than one save on the go at once per profile, which I found a bit disappointing. And he said, we'll start again. And I was like, oh no. I was like, this will be the third time I've had to watch the beginning. But I was like, no, I gave you the choice. So we played it. Basically, I gave him the pad.
Yeah.
Because, you can just play it. It's quite obvious what to do, and it explains it all. And Claire and I sat down, and we started Until Dawn from the beginning. And we started it at about 7 o'clock on Saturday night. And we played it till about 1 a.m. when we'd been up really early, so we couldn't keep our eyes open anymore. And Gav made good progress, and it was just fantastic. The thing was, we felt like we were getting close to the end by 1-ish.
Yeah.
But we really would have had to play it until dawn to finish it. So we gave it up because my little boy gets up at 6.
Right.
So we gave up on it, and the thing is, poor Gav, he was going on the Sunday, so he had to leave it because I can't play it in the day because it's totally inappropriate for my little boy. So Gav's gone home and missed it, and then Claire was like, on Sunday night, she's like, "You got to play until dawn." And I was like, "I'm tired though." She's like, "You got to play it. I can't stop thinking about it." And I was like, "Yeah, I know what you mean." She's like, "We've got to find out what happens." So we put it on, and I played it all Sunday night until completion.
Right.
And by Jiminy, Antony, it's great.
Really?
Absolutely love it. There were moments when Gav was playing it, and he'd make some decisions and do some stuff. And I remember at one point, it just looked so real. It really did suspend. I just got so immersed. I got so immersed, Antony. I was like, Gav, do this, do that, do that. But at another point, I said, she's horrible, man. I said, I can't believe she's done that. And Gav went, I just did that. And I went, oh yeah. I was like, of course you did. I said, I actually forgot that you were playing it because I was watching it. It was that seamless. I said, I actually forgot you were playing it, Gav, and I thought we were just watching a film. But Gav's actually was doing the stuff on the pad. And yeah, the graphics are unbelievable. You can easily forget that you're watching a game. Not so much if you're playing the game, but it's an absolute joy to appreciate the beauty of the graphics. It's got lots of snow. When you're going in the snow, it's got that trudge that I love. It's really got that crunch. There's the trudge in the snow. And the way that they've got all these different kind of horror tropes into the game, and in my opinion, I think that they've done it so well. They've got bits of like Saw. They've got bits of like hack and slash sort of genre. They've got supernatural thrown in, and they've done it all. And they've done it all in such a way that it works. It works.
Wow.
And the characters at the beginning are a little bit dude, bro, and like I think I said to you before, I didn't feel any real care for any of them because it swaps you through all 8 characters all the time. But I do think it was because I hadn't played enough of it, and now having played the entire story, you start to dislike some of them more. But some of them win you over more, and their personalities change as you go through the game. And the acting's really good, the writing's good, the graphics of the people in it, it's just stunning. Wow. I've got it there on my projector, and it's just amazing. And on the pause screen, it just whichever character you're controlling, it just has a massive profile of their face, like a bust, if you like, of their face, and you can move it with the right stick. And it's so real, so they're sort of looking to the left as a default, but if you move the right stick to the right, they sort of turn and look at you.
Right.
And it was that real that I sort of was like, watch this, guys, and I said like, hey, Sam, and that's Hayden Panettiere's character, and then move the stick, and then she looks at you, and it looks like they've heard you. That was just a little mini game that I made up myself, but there's some good actors in here. You've got, as I said, you've got Hayden Panettiere as the one of the main protagonists, Sam.
Yeah.
Peter Stormare is in it, and he's the guy who's the psychiatrist in the game. He breaks the fourth wall and actually asks the player for like a profile of what scares you. And I don't know for sure, but I think the game engineers itself around your fears that you talk to the psychiatrist about.
Right.
The facial animation on this guy, and the whole body frame animation, but the facial animation, I've never seen anything like it. The way that his cheeks move around when he's in relation to his mouth when he's speaking. The fact that you can see his tongue licking the inside of his teeth when he's talking to you, it's staggering, man. It's really amazing. You've got.
It sounds incredible. It sounds like such a great game.
So good, man. You've got Rami Malek from. Last thing I know that he was in was Mr. Robot.
Right.
So he's in it, and he looks really the same as well, and his character's pretty cool, but a bit weird. Well, they're all a bit weird, They're all a bit weird because it starts off, and there's been this tragedy. These group of friends all meet up at a log cabin in a cabin that's a retreat of one of the kids' fathers or one of the kids' parents, and they go there, and there's a big tragedy, and then Rami Malek's character calls them all back 1 year later to sort of honour the tragedy.
Yeah.
But the tragedy's that bad that you just sort of like, this guy's... Right from the off, I was like, this guy's a nutter. There's no way you'd want to go back here, But anyway, in true horror film fashion, everybody goes there, and then the story starts. And honestly, Antony, it's a game to play. It's fantastic. And the thing is, right, I played it, and I only 3 survived out of 8.
Right.
And the weird thing about the game is we were all just shaking our heads because I'd said at the start, I said that you can survive, you can save everybody, or nobody, or anything in between. That's what the game says. And as we played it, there were some points, and we were just like, how in heaven could it possibly be any other story than this? We really couldn't believe it. The seamless way that the story rolled from the decisions that we made, we couldn't understand how it could be any other way. There were certain points, and it's like, well, there would be no way to avoid what's happened. And there'd be a death, and we'd be like, well, that could not be avoided. How does it work? To the point where I looked it up on the internet to see if you actually could. Because Gav was doubting me, even though I trusted the game. And he was like, nah. He's like, he just says that, but everybody gets the same no matter what decisions you make. I was like, no, mate. So I looked it up, and I was like, honestly, look, you can save everybody if you're clever or if you play it right, or you can save 0 if you do it wrong or if you choose to do it that way. I don't think there's a right and wrong. It's just about the way you do it. And it's so seamless that your story feels like your story. And it's just amazing. Like I say, there was bits of it where I forgot that it was even a game, just thought it was something that I was watching when Gav was playing it. There were bits where we just couldn't even begin to comprehend how the story as it was for us could be changed to have people survive or go down different paths. And the graphics are absolutely phenomenal. The story all ties in together, throwing in all these horror tropes that you could ever think of. They're all packed in there. And there's cheesy bits. There's, as I say, there's slasher bits. There's chasey bits. There's like supernatural bits. There's twists and turns. It's a great game.
Wow, it sounds incredible. It sounds like such a great game. I haven't heard you this kind of animated for ages. It's really lovely that you've got this game. Do you know what? I might have to just buy it now, just because it sounds like it sounds like you turned it into a really awesome party game, and B, it just sounds like such an experience that needs to be played.
Yeah, it's amazing. I really, really, really love it. And like you finish it, and as the credits roll, the characters that survived, sort of in true sort of cinema fashion, they sort of reflect on what happened. And like one of mine sort of said, "Yeah, this happened, and he could have survived, and that was my fault." And it felt awful because it was my fault, and I was like, I just want to play it again. I want to play it again. I kind of wish the game was shorter, so that you could a more manageable amount of time. But that's just because at the moment with little boy and stuff, I can't play it in the day. So I've only got from him going to bed at like 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
and it's hard with him getting up so early for me to stay up till like 2 in the morning or until dawn to complete it.
But it sounds like that is a game that needs to be played. You know, I would love to play this. You know, downstairs, no lights on, headphones on. You know, just does it have any moments that make you jump?
Yeah, it's full of jump scares.
My god!
It's got quick time events, but they're in a good.
Where's my Amazon app?
Yeah, it's got quick time events, but they're really done well. And it's harsh with them. You know, they're quick. It doesn't treat you like a fool. You know, to do them well. You know, you're taking a risk because usually it'll say, "Do you want to go safe and like sort of walk around, or do you want to jump over and be reckless?" And if you jump over and reckless, it'll hit you with a quick time, and it just flashes up on the screen. It goes. And before you know it, you're like, oh, trying to hit the right button. But it doesn't give you very long to hit them, which increases the tension. And there's these bits, and I'd read this thing online, or read a few reports online that said this part of the game was broken, and that part of the game is that on some bits, it uses the gyroscope in the pad and tells you to keep still or don't move, right? So
Right.
There'll be parts in it, and I'm going to make up an instance because I don't want to reveal anything about the game. But imagine,
no spoilers.
Imagine that you've ducked behind a wall, right? And there's a guy looking for you, and he's sort of looking around and he's listening, and it just says "Don't move," and you stand there, right? And you've got to hold that pad still. And when I started playing the game, I was sort of reclined on my chair with my feet out, and I had the pad resting sort of on my chest, and I was keeping it still, but my natural breathing made me move, so I was like, I can't play it like that, so I had to sit up.
Right,
and there's some bits, right? I tell you, it's just all going off, right? And it's life and death, and I could not breathe. I had to hold my breath. I was just like, Claire, if this says don't move, you cannot move. And she was like, okay. And he went, don't move. It's like, Rin! And it's like, do not move. And you can hear the heartbeat going,
wow.
And it's just got this pad, and it's showing the pad, and you just hold it, and you're frozen. And the scene's going on, and the scene is just giving you more and more needled. In the end, all I could do is watch the icon for the don't move, because if I watched the actual scene, I would have lost my nerve. And then if you keep your cool for long enough, then you get sort of the reward bit of keeping still. You might escape. But if you move at all, you could be dead. That character could just be dead in an instant.
My God, I would have just put my controller down. I would have put it on my
You can't do that, though. It ruins the immersion. But yeah, it's really good, man, because it's as if you're really stood there. And yeah, man, it's good.
Wow, high praise indeed. It always shocks me with this game because Sony, they didn't make a big deal out of it, did they? I mean, a lot of kind of Until Dawn is word of mouth, and I was waiting to see kind of how if you were like, yeah, it's really good, it's fine, but it sounds like you say, if this was a couple of weeks ago, this would be in your top 3 games of the year.
Yeah, best game I played this year.
Yeah.
20 days in. But yeah, it's amazing, man. I can't sing its praises enough. It's absolutely fantastic. I remember saying when it came out, do you remember we were like, we thought this was a cheap game, not a full price game?
Yes.
I think it's worth the full price. I got it for £20.
Yep.
But thinking now, it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. I'm burning to play it again and make some different decisions, because Gav made all his decisions, and I sort of, even though it felt like our game, I want to have my game. I want to try and save them all. And then I might even try something that I don't usually do, and just see what happens about being reckless. And could you actually... I reckon it'd be quite hard to kill everybody as well. Maybe not in this game, though. They do get killed.
So do you think you could do that? Do you think you could play again? Because, as I was saying about when I was playing Life is Strange, that's it now. I don't need... there is achievements I could get, but I don't want to. I've kind of played my game, I've finished my story, I'm happy to leave that game as it is, because I don't want to disrupt the story that I created whilst I was playing the awesome Life is Strange. Do you feel that with Until Dawn that you could go back in and just, like you say, as a director of a horror movie, maybe just kind of mess it up a little bit more?
Yeah. I mean, first I'm going to try and be good, because there's whole character arcs you don't even get to see. If these guys meet their demise early.
Right.
So it'd just be interesting to explore the story with characters that I've lost. Not, if they survive, what happens? What do they get up to? How does the story branch off? How does it all meet the conclusion? It's awesome, man. So, unlike a lot of games where really you just play the same game, and there would be a lot the same, but I mean, I'll have to report back when I've done it. But I'm itching to play it. I'm going to get some people round as well. I'm trying to work out on getting some more people round and playing it again as a party game, because I just think it's cool. It's just the fact that it took about 8 hours. But we didn't want to stop on the Saturday night. If only we'd started playing it on the Friday, Gav would have seen the end. And it's so bad that he didn't, because we were all proper just hanging on this game. We're hanging on its every word.
Yeah.
So it's just like you want to do it in a sitting. And you could do it with people round, and you just get involved. You get involved in it, and you start to care about these people. Because, I mean, as unlikable as they are, because like later on in the game, these people that we didn't like, I was like, oh man, this is terrible. I know she's horrible, but this, just being horrible, nobody deserves this sort of thing. It's just terrible. And it's a fantastic game. As I say, it looks beautiful. It plays really well. The controls, for what it is, the way they're perfect. It's what Heavy Rain wanted to be, but it's Heavy Rain is nothing compared to Until Dawn. Absolute nothing. It's fantastic. It's brilliant. I hope that the sales are steady, and I hope that the guys bring out more games like this, because this is great. It's really great. So that's Until Dawn, and the other game that I played was Metal Gear Solid 5, and I rolled the credits on that as well.
Wow, that's really good. Well done. Wow, you've had a right completist weekend.
I have. I defeated Sahelanthropus, who's the big Metal Gear at the end. It's a bit weird, Metal Gear 5. In fact, the way that it's structured has disappointed me to the point where I would have probably removed it out of my top 3 last year.
I replaced it with Until Dawn.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the reason I put it there hasn't changed. It's about the actual control and the actual gameplay of it I really love. But it's the structure and the story, really. I didn't care about the story anyway, and I just loved playing the game for what it is. I just imagined my own story, we had sneak, in the desert is really good. But after it rolls the credits, it then says that that's the end of Chapter 1, and then it opens up a new bit called Chapter 2.
Right.
And I was like, what's this about? So I started looking online, and basically there's like a few more missions that give you a little bit more story, but probably would only be worth doing if you're a really big fan of the series. And what it does is basically, it's as if lots of people hypothesise that the reason that it's a bit of a shoddy mess in its structure is because they ran out of time. And what with all the controversy about Hideo Kojima getting fired and what have you from Konami, it's just sort of hodgepodged together, the Chapter 2 part.
I heard that. I heard that, one of the rumours or one of the kind of speculations was that Kojima, the reason why they kind of fell out was Kojima kind of almost went back to Konami and said, I need another 20 million or something, and they said, no, release it now. And that's kind of one of the reasons why they've had this whole parting of the waves.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and it just seemed unfinished. And what happens is you do a mission and then it'll bring up several more missions, which are basically repeating missions you've already done in the first part of the game, which I'm going to call the game proper, and you just repeat them, but basically it's on super hard difficulty. So to succeed in the mission, you get dropped in the landing zone with nothing. You can't call in any buddies, you get no guns, you get nothing at all, it's just you. Everything that you use you've got to find actually in the level. And I just thought, you know what, I've already done these levels anyway. I actually can't be bothered to play it in this fashion. And so there's a lot of this. I think that's padding personally. So it's pad, and then after you've done some, you go back to Mother Base and you get a cutscene, and then there's more of the same, and then you get called back to Mother Base when you've done enough, and you get a cutscene, and then you get like what they call the true end, or a better ending. I think you need to do even more to get the true ending. So I feel a little bit like the game is unfinished. And I never realised, because I'd never read anything about it, so I didn't know. I'd never read any spoilers, didn't know there was a Chapter 1 and a Chapter 2, and I ultimately feel shortchanged with it. I'm disappointed with it. But it is still a joy to play. But, I sort of felt, just end the game, because Metal Gear Solid 4 on PS3, I thought had a fantastic ending. And you watched all the cutscene, and I felt really satisfied that my time had been paid off. And I didn't really feel my time had been paid off well enough in Metal Gear Solid 5. And this Chapter 2 thing just feels like an unfinished cop-out. And it's changed my perception of it.
That's bizarre, isn't it? And you're right. You have fun, kind of building up to the end, and you're kind of enjoying it. You're enjoying it, and then you get let down by this unfinished, and it just changes your whole perception of that game. That's just. I still want to get, it's there. I still want to go back. I still want to kind of, because like you say, it's a good romp, isn't it? When you're up until when you're finishing it, it's a good romp. So I still want to go back and play that.
All you need to worry about, really, if you're going to play it, is get up to level 31, main missions. I think there's like 30 or 31 is the last level.
Right.
And then there's like another 14 or something, or I think there's 46 main missions altogether, but then you're into the padding zone, you're into this Chapter 2. So my recommendation, obviously, it's up to you, would be to leave it unless you're a big Metal Gear fan. And it's strange because you've got two games there. So you've got Metal Gear that I loved and played it. And, it didn't take me long to complete it, so I didn't realise I was quite close to completion when I left it for Fallout. I was on like level. I did about 4 missions to finish it, and I was loving it.
You were really close then.
So. If I'd have known, I probably would have just stuck with it before starting Fallout. And then finished it, and it's changed my opinion of it. And Until Dawn, I'd only played a little bit, and I had one opinion that wasn't. I was like, it's all right, don't care about the characters, blah, blah, blah. It's good graphics. Played it through, and now I'm sort of completely smitten with it. So it's strange, isn't it? When you play a full game, it sort of taught me a lesson of, can you make a proper judgment unless you played the whole game? But then I suppose you just make a judgment on what you played, because that's all you've got, isn't it? But it's funny, after playing that sort of Metal Gear Solid to the end and being disappointed, that's changed what I thought about it from it being one of my favourite games ever. And Until Dawn, being a little bit unsure at first and thinking what's all the hype about, putting in the time, and admittedly it's not much time for Until Dawn, you can do it in 7 or 8 hours, and being completely turned around to just sort of worshipping the ground it walks on. There you go.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, that's really good. You kind of embarked on and completed 3 games this week. That's really good going.
Yeah, I've got Bloodborne now.
Wow, is that your next one?
Well, I'm sort of scared to go back to Yarnum because I know how hard it is.
You'll have a right. You got a right kind of gruesome evenings game, and you either get Until Dawn or Bloodborne. you know, maybe you need A Boy and His Blob just to kind of bring that up. Or you got Star Wars. That kind of makes you smile, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I've got my game that I'm trying to get to. What I'm clearing the decks for really is Tomb Raider that I've got.
Right.
But Bloodborne, yeah, I feel sorry for my character in a way because at the moment I left him stood on a rock in the middle of a poison lake, surrounded by giants hurling boulders at him, and I just think he's been there for months.
He's just, I hope he's got Vita or something, at least, just to kind of keep himself occupied. Yeah. And he's not just there counting his teeth. So anyway, let's get started on our news section. And in this week's news section, London is getting the Games Festival. Microsoft have started rolling out those monthly updates again. And The Division teases the size of the game. First up, The Witness. Now, I know this is another game that's on your radar as well, isn't it, Daz?
It is, yeah. I do like Jonathan Blow games. I loved Braid, and this is strange because it's 3D rather than 2D.
Yes,
and it's going to be. I'll use the term again. This is going to be a smorgasbord of puzzles, I believe. It's not going to be sort of one gaming type. I think there's going to be lots of different sort of puzzle types thrown into this game, so it's going to be interesting.
That's exactly it, and it is just like you're in an island, so you're in the Witness takes place on an island, and you're right, there is just a mysterious island that's just full of a series of puzzles. They are saying that I was listening to the official PlayStation broadcast, and they were saying that they have one of the guys there has played it, finished it. He played it last year, and it took him between kind of 80, I think it was about 80 hours to kind of finish this game. Jonathan Blow has said it's between 80 and 100 if you're a completionist. Wow. To play this game. So this week the pre-orders went live on the PlayStation Store, and also on Steam and in the Humble Store as well. And it's looking that it's going to be $29.99 to play with The Witness, which I think for a game that they're clocking into between 80 to 100 hours, it maybe always kind of factor down a bit, but even that, even at the 80 hours, that's an incredible value for The Witness. So that's kind of what the speculation, well, not the speculation because it's there, but that's what the price for this next game, the long and waited follow up to Braid by Jonathan Blow is coming in at $29.99.
Yeah. Revealed with the PlayStation 4 itself, and we've been waiting a heck of a long time for this game. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what it's like. I think it is good bang for buck. £30, $29.99. But I was sort of like, I was a bit shocked by the price reveal because I was sort of thinking it's an indie. I was expecting it to be like $14.99 or something. So yeah, we'll just see. There's a lot of hype about this game, and I originally was hyped about it because of the developer and the person behind it, because I love Braid so much. But I don't know. It's been that long now, and I see the island and stuff, and I'm like, it does look good and everything, but I'm just like, is it going to be good?
Yes.
I don't really know much about it.
Well, it's quite funny because if you think about it, games like Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, Resogun, Rocket League, all of those they're all of those indie darlings that are on the PS4. They're all around £15, aren't they? They're around £15-16. So this is, it's $29.99, it's close to $30, but it looks gorgeous. From the trailers that I've seen, from the screenshots, it looks amazing. The puzzles look incredible. So, I mean, it's funny because as much as we don't want to, we do end up just putting games into buckets, don't we? We just say, right, that's an indie game, so that should be £15. This is a AAA, so I'm happy to spend £40 on that. And it's bizarre that we do it. And you're right, in my head was The Witness, I had £16-17, for it. So it's quite interesting. It comes up and you're like, well, I'm not sure. And it's kind of £10 more than we expected. And already you're kind of doubting your purchase. Yeah. But it's one of those things, and without the without the demos that we used to get on Xbox for every indie game, let's just keep using that title for this, the kind of indie games. Without that, you are making a blind purchase on this. You're going off the back of, it's Jonathan Blow, it's the sequel, not the sequel, but it's the follow-up to Braid. It's getting critically acclaimed. For me, all of those things, I'm happy to pump that into it. And even with the huge backlog that I have, it's still a game that I'm quite looking forward to jumping in. And it's a game that I'm hoping I'll buy it now and maybe I'll get a VR experience with it a bit later, because it seems it's all through first person, isn't it?
Yeah, it does seem very VR-y. A bit No Man's Sky-y as well.
Yeah.
It seems, the aesthetic. But yeah, I was just a bit shocked with the price. I want the game. I'm not going to lie, I want the game. I was just a bit shocked with it, and it just made me think, is it just like, oh, well, because it's Jonathan Blow and we've been hyping it for so long, we could charge, a premium for that? I don't mind the premium if the game's worth it. But the problem I've got is I haven't got a clue if the game's good or not. Saw the trailer and it's like, okay, look at a sign, it's got a maze on it, walk through the maze. I'm thinking, well, if it's just 101 different maze games, it's like, where's the value? But I'm sure it will be good because it's taken so long to make, and there's a lot in this game from what I've been reading. It's just that it's just sour grapes because I wish that they explain more. But maybe explaining more about it would ruin the magic of the game. Maybe that's the reason.
Well, don't forget, we're a week away from its release, so like I say, it will probably start ramping up the marketing for this, so we might hear more about it. IGN or the big guys might start getting previews, so we'll hear more. Like I say, from the PlayStation blog, Sid Schumann, I believe it was, he's indie relations for Sony, and he played this game all the way through, played it for 80 hours, and he said he wanted to give it his Game of the Year last year, but obviously he couldn't because it wasn't released yet.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a good accolade then.
And he was all over it. I was listening to their Game of the Year podcast on the train on Monday, and he was saying, I wish I could give my Game of the Year to Witness, but it's not out yet. So he managed to get that early access. So, I do think over this coming week, we may hear more about it. So we're only about 6 days away from it now. We're recording this on the 20th, so it's not long, so it's going to be, I guess it will be next Tuesday, so by the time we record our next one it might be out, so we might be playing it, and we could report back some more next week. Interesting, a bit of a non-news about The Witness came up. A lot of people made a big deal about it, was that The Witness went up for certification this week, so it's at the moment it's exclusive to PlayStation 4 and PC, but it went up for certification for Xbox. So the Entertainment Software Ratings Board, the ESRB, rated an Xbox One version of The Witness. Now, everybody went crazy going, this is coming to Xbox One, it's coming to Xbox One, which would be huge. It would be a huge surprise for everyone. But Jonathan Blow tweeted out, said, hold your horses. We just did that just in case. He always said that it's coming to PlayStation 4 and PC, but with other platforms later. So obviously the only other platform really is your is Xbox, or if you're going to do Mac or Wii. So he said that, hold your horses, it's not coming. We just want to get while we're doing the ratings for PlayStation 4 and PC, we thought we'd bundle in Xbox as well at the same time. But, if you are an Xbox only gamer, then, who knows? Don't give up hope. Maybe this game will be coming to an Xbox near you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of them games that I'm glad we've still got sort of a media that does the reviews. Because, like we discussed with the lack of demos, it's hard, isn't it? I don't want to just blindly spend my £30, so I'll be looking at the reviews with interest for this one. I really will. Yes. I'm sure it's going to be good. I've sort of, I've got a feeling it's going to be fine, but I'm not going to jump in just yet. Maybe if I had nothing else to play, though, I'd be just like, it'd be a no-brainer. But because I'm a bit busy with my deck sweeping, I've got the sort of I'm comfortable enough to just wait and see, which is good, because right. I was really. This is the thing. My hype's gone down, and I think it hasn't been covered as much as maybe it should. Over the elongated development time, it's sort of gone off my radar a little bit. I'm happy it's here, because now it's here. It's like, great, it's here. It's like, oh, okay, surprised with the money. Now, I just hope to be surprised with how good the game is, and that'd be fantastic. And that's be a great game to tide us over for many, many months, because it sounds like a game that you can dip in and dip out of.
Yeah, my only problem is this comes out on the 26th, and then on the 29th, I've got Lego Marvel Avengers, and I can't wait for that game because it's covering all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the Lego game. So I can't wait to play that. So just like, as sad as that is, I really enjoy those Lego games. So it's just like, so that's coming out. So if I start playing The Witness on next Tuesday, I'm definitely going to be by Friday. I'll be playing Lego.
Yeah, it's just we just don't have enough time.
We don't. But it's nice having those games on my dash, and then you can just kind of jump into it. Like I say, if it is just a whole bunch of puzzles, then it'd be quite nice that you can go in, do some puzzles, and then kind of come out.
Do a puzzle. Yeah, you finish one, and you're like, right, okay, and then
just kind of
leave it.
Dip in, dip out, and kind of make yourself feel good. Have a nice little relaxing zen of a game sitting there on because, like I say, it's digital, so it would just be a click of a button away.
I wonder if it's like a 3D Professor Layton.
Could be. I know. I'm very. I've been following this game. It's another one of those games where I've been. I saw it, liked it, off the radar. Firewatch is the same. We've got this. There's those games that I just was like, I don't want to know any more about it. I don't want it spoiled. So for me, I think I might just kind of jump in and see what it is. If I doubt Jonathan Blow will let us down.
Yeah, and I went into Braid Blind. I think I told you before. I bought it off the demo and the music in the demo because I love the music so much. But the demo didn't really reflect the game at all because the demo really just made it look like a very basic platform game. But the watercolour aesthetic and the enchanting music just cast a spell on me, and I bought the game. And it was only afterwards I had the serendipitous joy of finding out that it was actually a fantastic game. It was great, and so I was really happy. So he didn't let me down then. So yeah, I'm sure it'll be great. And this has been a long time coming, so I'm sure it will be cool.
I mean, Jonathan Blow did a walkthrough. I think it was at the PlayStation Experience that was just before Christmas. I mean, would something like that satisfy your need for a demo on that? If you watched Jonathan Blow play it for 10 minutes.
Yeah, what is that up on YouTube then?
I think it is. That? I'm sure I've seen it mentioned on the PlayStation blog. Went, nope, don't want to see that. Don't want to see that.
I think I'm a bit like that though. I don't really want to see it. I think I'll wait and just look at them. I'll look at Metacritic or something. I know that's got frowned upon. I'll just see what it's averaging, see what it's getting. Maybe read the first few words or the middle few words of a few reviews. Or maybe just the conclusions of a few reviews, just to pick up some keywords about it, but without spoiling the experience. And then if it's getting a thumbs up, I'll dive in.
Yeah, and like I say, we'll be recording next week we record on a Wednesday night. So if I'm not in Manchester next Tuesday, then maybe I might have some time with it before then, and I can kind of give you my first impressions next week.
Yeah, I look forward to that if you do, because I may, if I've got the cojones, I may be trying to fight through bosses on Bloodborne, and I don't know how long that's going to take. Oh, because it's so hard.
Right, the next piece of news is with you, sir.
It is indeed. This is just a quick one, and this is just the news that we could get another Tokyo Jungle game on PS4, which I think is great news because I enjoyed Tokyo Jungle on PlayStation 3. I'm not sure how well known Tokyo Jungle is as a game. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of it. I remember Eurogamer used to kind of talk about it a lot on their site. I never played it, but they used to talk about it a lot.
Yeah, it was a great game. I had it on my PS3, and basically all humans have disappeared from Earth. We don't know why, and animals have taken over. I never completed it because some other game came along. It sounds so shallow, doesn't it? This game's amazing, but I didn't complete it. And yeah, you start off as like a little puppy or something, and as you play the game and you survive for longer, you develop and you grow into a larger animal, and you get more perks and things, more abilities as you play the game, and it's just really good. You're exploring this wasteland. It's all overgrown, a bit like if you could picture. In the way the Last of Us world is all overgrown, where nature is growing over all the skyscrapers and things, and the animals are rife everywhere, and it's just basically survival of the fittest.
Right.
And you're controlling your little animal and just trying to survive. and get through from point A to point B without just being torn apart by bigger predators. And it's a very enjoyable game, and it's different. It's a different kind of game, a different slant on what we usually play, and I really liked it. Sony computer entertainment producer Masaki Yamagiwa had a meeting recently with Yohei Yohei Kataoka, who's the game designer on Tokyo Jungle, and he's the developer of Crispies, who made it. And basically he said, we had a meeting about Tokyo Jungle after a long time. He tweeted that out. And then he gave a second tweet saying, and with Tokyo Jungle's main members, we want to make something. #Tokyo Jungle. So that's good news, Why tweet it if they're not sort of thinking of doing it? Mm-hmm. And that would be a great little indie game to play. It's a nice distraction because, as I say, it's just so different. It's just nice to... I really found it refreshing when I played it. It's just a cool game. So yeah, we may be getting another Tokyo Jungle on PS4, and that with PS4's power as well, it would just be nice. Be a nice game. So I'm crossing my fingers that'll come out.
Wow, fantastic! No, that'd be really cool. Maybe they're saving that for E3 or something like that as an announcement.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it'll get innovation, but yeah, it'll still be a welcome one for me. Indeed.
So the next piece of news is with me, and that is I kind of was talking about it at the start of the podcast, which was about Gone Home. So Gone Home was released on PlayStation 4 and Xbox last week, if you were in the US or Canada, but days before it was due to be released in the UK, it suffered a bit of a delay. So due to ratings, due to certificate and ratings issue, there has been a problem with the content, and so that scheduled release, which was last week, was taken off. So they didn't release, both Xbox One and PlayStation couldn't release Fulbright's game, Gone Home, and that's it. And it's just been taken away from both of those stores. I was looking on Twitter today, and I was looking at kind of at Gone Home Game to see if they've had any updates about it, but they're just basically saying that they're currently working with the ratings board, so probably the ESRB, in both Europe and Australia, and they have no news at the moment. They're trying to get it out in those territories, and they will update us as and when, which is quite interesting because it's already out on PC in Europe. So it's quite interesting that again, maybe what Jonathan Blow and the Witness team have done, which is while they're certifying one platform, they just get the rest done at the same time. But for PlayStation and Xbox fans, me being one of them, because I really wanted to play through this weekend, unfortunately, it wasn't there. It wasn't there on this store. But hopefully, they're saying, like I say, they'll keep us posted. But for the moment, they have no update at all.
Oh no, Gone Home's gone home.
Gone
come
home.
Back.
Yeah, yes. Please
come back, Gone Home.
Please come home, please. I really wanted to play this because it's another one of those kind of everybody's gone to the rapture kind of walk 'em up environmental game. And I've been hearing some great things about it from the guys in the US playing it on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and also people who've been playing it on PC for a couple of years. I think it came out in about 2013 on PC. So it's a bit of a shame that there seems to be something amiss with our ratings.
Yeah, spanner in the works somewhere, but it'll be all the sweeter for the delay.
Absolutely. It was one of those things where I'm like, right, this weekend I'm going to play Gone Home. I might play Banner Saga, but I ended up just kind of, like I say, I had a great fun. I was playing Uncharted, so it was good. But I'll keep us all posted on that. I'll keep an eye on that. As I say, the Twitter handle is @GoneHomeGame. I'll keep an eye on that, and I'll update and let you know when that's going to come out.
Yeah, surprising one, that. Surprising, yeah. The next thing we've got is, in lieu of the tragedy of David Bowie passing away, Square Enix have decided to create a free offer of a game that he starred in. It's quite an old game. It's on PC, and you can only get it on PC. But you can get, I don't know, some of you gamers out there may remember it, Omicron, the Nomad Soul, which had good old David Bowie in it. That's free from the Square Enix store, and you can get that free up until 9 a.m. GMT on Friday the 22nd of January.
Right.
So this will go out tomorrow, 21st. So if you listen to the podcast quickly, you'll be able to get hold of this game. I never played the game when it came out, but I remember reading about it. I didn't have a PC back then. You know, it was something for only the elite, as I suppose it still is in a way. So I don't know much about the game, but it's free and it's there. If you want a bit of gaming history that had one of music's moguls, you know, a historic music mogul in it, then pick it up for free from the Square Enix store. So probably it could be well worth a look.
Absolutely, I always remember the screenshots with kind of because like David Bowie plays, he's the main villain in the game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
you know, I always remember kind of seeing that, and you know, I'm a big Bowie fan, and I never played it, but I think it was out on was it the original Xbox? It was out on.
It may have been, you know.
I think it might have been. It might have been, but it was all because his son, Duncan Jones. Duncan Jones, he was the one who got him to kind of be in this game. He was like, "Look at this," and I think his son was a big gamer and still is a big gamer. And I think he got him to kind of appear in the Omicron, the Nomad Soul. So which was really interesting, you know. And Duncan Jones, he's the director behind movies like The Moon, Source Code, and also for the upcoming Warcraft movie as well.
Oh wow! Well, I didn't know that. You learn something new every day.
There you go. So yeah, it was sad. The passing of David Bowie was incredibly sad, as well as Alan Rickman as well. You know, we lost two greats in a week.
It's like and Lemmy as well before that. You know.
Yes. It was.
You know, it's just awful.
Exactly, 2016 is biting big time. I've been listening to the Lazarus, the Black Star album, David Bowie's last album. I was listening to it before he passed away, and listening to it even more so after. And it's an incredible album. It's after the events that happened, the whole album kind of takes a little bit of a new turn. It takes a little bit of a new twist. And also, you know, I've been listening to The Man Who Sold the World and Diamond Dogs as well, you know, from Metal Gear Solid. So I've just been playing those very loud. Yeah,
absolutely. And you mentioned Alan Rickman, and I was doing a bit of reading up about Alan Rickman. And I didn't know this, but he moved to LA when he was 41 to sort of pursue his acting career, and he was picked up for Die Hard 2 days after moving to LA at 41.
Wow! And
that's when he got the part in Die Hard, and that's what launched his career into sort of mega fame. And I never knew that. I was like, wow, Die Hard, which I love. I was like, I thought he'd been around, doing films for ages before that, and that was just because. And I just happened to know Die Hard. But I didn't know that was the one that sort of made him massive. I didn't know. And certainly I didn't know that he'd moved to LA and then he got that job 2 days after.
Wow.
I was like, oh, wow, that's such a nice story. It's very sad.
Absolutely. I always felt that, whenever Alan Rickman was in a movie, it just had a little bit extra gravitas, because he always was just kind of one of those, he played villains to start off with, but then he just was one of those personas, one of those characters that were just incredible. As the Sheriff of Nottingham in Prince of Thieves, he was amazing, as in Dogma, which is kind of, I'm a big Kevin Smith fan, and Dogma is just kind of, is such an amazing film, and he plays Metatron in Dogma, and the way he delivers his lines in that movie were just incredible. Kevin Smith gave quite a touching, maybe well up on the train on Monday. He gave quite a touching tribute in his Hollywood Babylon podcast to Alan Rickman. And one of the funniest things that he kind of left on, which really made me chuckle, was that he was living in New York, and last time he saw Kevin Smith, when Kevin Smith was in London, he goes, I've just moved to New York, and I'm in Ray Fiennes' building. Ray Fiennes said there was an apartment that was vacant, so I bought it. And he was like, if those Potter fans know that both Snape and Voldemort are living in the same building in New York, he said they would burn it to the ground. So that really made me chuckle, and it was a real kind of, the way Kevin Smith delivered it was just perfect. So it was just it was such a great tribute that he gave to someone who was a friend of his. So it was a very touching and very fitting tribute to a great man.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very sad news.
Yeah, right, let's get back to games. All this sadness. Let's get back to games. And Xbox One's at it again. We're going to start getting those system updates again, which is great. Although I love that Microsoft are continuing to not fix, but to continue to innovate, to continue to add new features to the Xbox on a month-on-month basis. If you are a preview member, you already have this month's update. If you're not in the preview program, you have to wait until February. But it started rolling out today. It's a very safe first update. But it does give some really nice features. It does really give some kind of nice little kind of touches. One of the things that I really like, one of the things I enjoy, is that it's restored the gamer score leaderboard. And that's the one where it shows you kind of how much gamer score you and your friends have amassed over the last 30 days. So it's quite nice to kind of see that leaderboard kind of going up and down. So that's back. I think that was removed when we had the new Xbox experience back in November. So that's back, which is really cool. The Avatar Store is back, so you can customize your avatars again, which is, I think it matches the Windows 10 App Store as well, so you can put clothes and props on those avatars if you still choose to use that. You can also rearrange your pins. You can rearrange your pins on the console rather than just on the Smart Glass app, which is always handy. I do like doing that. Make sure that Viva Pinata is up there on the top line to get it in. And also, one of the interesting things is you can also check to see who's in a party before you join it. So before you join that party and realise that really annoying friend of a friend is there, you can actually check to see who's in that party first.
You can lurk on the outskirts.
Yes, exactly.
Peep over the fence and see who's in there.
Yeah, indeed, so you can do that as well. So you can, and I think the final thing that's worth noting, which is fantastic, you can now hide betas, demos, apps that you don't want to be in your view, when you look at your My Games and apps, you can now hide those unwanted things from your library.
Oh, that's welcome. That's a feature I hated, not being able to get rid of that stuff.
Absolutely. Every now and then, Gears of War beta pops up or stuff like that, or so you can kind of get rid of those. So that's really good. So that's kind of, like I say, it's rolling out today. It began rolling out. I was looking at Twitter earlier today, and Major Nelson was saying that it was rolling out to preview members. So I'll boot up my Xbox One a bit later to get that, and then everybody else will be getting that around February.
Wow, that's pretty cool. One thing I want to ask you, Anthony, will it break Rock Band?
Oh,
my
Rock
Band. Will it break my Rock Band again?
Well, you're out of the preview program now, aren't you?
Yeah, I've not got the courage to join again.
Right.
Once bitten, twice shy. That's my motto. So I'm staying out. I'm staying below the parapet. I can't be doing with this bleeding edge.
Yes, you wait until it's tried and tested, and the blood, sweat, and tears for the preview members have rolled,
I will.
And then you'll get it.
Yeah, I learned my lesson. I got my icon for my troubles. I was my cat ninja, but yeah, I'm just gonna stay out for a little while. I do like being able to remove those icons though, because I couldn't get rid of a Zoo Tycoon icon, and I wiped my Xbox because of it. It annoyed me that much.
Yes.
So yeah,
I remember. Yes.
Yeah. So that is very welcome. Yeah, we'll see how it goes, and I look forward to getting the fully working version in February.
In February, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's great to see that again. That website that I always tout, a lot of this has come from feedback at Xbox.com. A lot of it's come from there, where all of these things that they're adding, all of the features that they're bringing in throughout these monthly updates, are all coming from the community. So, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Another example of Xbox being open to the fans and having that channel for input from them. It's really good. It's really good. So yeah, the next piece is with myself, and it's just a quickie, this one. PlayStation Network went down a few weeks ago for 12 hours or a day, and we mentioned that in the podcast, I think, last week. And yeah, they're rolling out some recompense to everybody. It's official. They're going to roll it out. You've probably got the email already if you're subscribed to PlayStation Network, PlayStation Plus. I've had my email. I don't know if you've had yours, Antony. So yeah, everybody's going to get a extra day. You're going to get a code that you can redeem on PlayStation Network, and it'll add a day on to your subscription. So they're making amends that way.
I can't believe they're making you put a code in. I can't believe that.
To try and filter out the ones that can't be bothered and just save that bit of money or whatever.
I was very close when that came in, when that email came in. I haven't deleted it yet, but I was very close to just deleting it, going, well, I don't care about this. I just my PS Plus subscription has just renewed. It's a day. I don't care. I was just very close to just kind of deleting it, just because it's just. If they would, well, I don't know why they didn't just go. We were out for a day. We'll add it on to everybody rather than just kind of giving us. We have to now redeem this code. Go onto our PlayStation Plus and redeem the code. I'd love to see the numbers of the people that actually did redeem the code.
Yeah, I can't be bothered. It's like the emails. If it's a fanfare, oh look what we're doing. And the thing is, right, I wasn't affected with it, so I don't think I can be bothered to tap the code in either. Maybe we should do a tweet. We'll give away our codes. It's like, retweet and you can get 1 day of PS Network.
Here's 1 day of the PlayStation Network. Knock yourself out.
Wow. Well, it's between us. We can offer 2 days, can't we? Wow.
Yeah. There you go.
Brilliant.
Wow.
But the thing is, if I had been affected, giving me exactly the same back, or giving me that 1 day back, is not the same as the time that I wanted to play and couldn't. Do you know what I mean? I sort of consider if I'd have been hit by it, I want to play and I can't. That isn't really compensated by just getting exactly the same time back, because I wanted to play then and I couldn't. So you failed me, your service failed me, and just sort of giving me that back doesn't really make it right. It is a good gesture, but like you say, it's ridiculous that we all have to put a code in. It's just like, take the hit, Sony, and add a day on for everybody.
Yeah. Absolutely, like I say, it's a great gesture, but it is. I mean, it's like as I was saying before, with Star Wars Battlefront. My brother and I, we fancied, we kind of put our headsets on, we were ready to go to play Star Wars, and then we went into the missions. We wanted to do the missions, just the two of us rather than a big map, and we kind of went in there. We're like, oh, no, that's not working. Okay, let's just go back out. Let's try it again. Maybe you can try it. And there was a lot of that, and I think we must have spent about an hour and a half, and then at the end of that, we played a quick kind of heroes versus villains, and we're like, do you know what, stuff it. We'll try again later. I apologise because he was happily playing a mission on his own, and then I kind of messaged him going, oh, you're playing Star Wars, do you want me to jump in as well? And he's like, yeah, I could do with a hand, I'm stuck on there. But the disruption that caused, it was about an hour and 45 minutes by the time we got to game, when we were rebooting consoles, redoing our routers, talking to EA, Star Wars, all of this sort of stuff. And you're right, that is just, it's such a pain. But by doing that, it did kind of ruin that kind of gaming thing. We were kind of a bit kind of grumpy by that. But I wouldn't expect anything from it, because EA said obviously the server's not working, but I wouldn't expect anything from it. Definitely wouldn't expect a code. I would expect Sony just to say.
Sony will get back to you and say, okay, so you had like an hour and 38 minutes of trouble, so we're going to give you a code for an hour and 38 minutes.
Yes.
Of extra time, and it's like, oh, that really makes me feel better. You've redeemed yourself so much there. I'm not expecting free copies of The Witness for everybody.
No,
it's just like, I don't know. It's just sort of make it better. It's like that other thing they did where it's like, okay, you can have a discount of games between this day and this day, but only when we haven't got a sale on. Do you remember that? For
yes.
For the last thing. And I think that they set a bit of an expectation about the hacking thing, because they did give some free games then. But I'm not saying that they should do that. But it's just, I'm just trying to think of an example. It's like, if I mess something up for a customer, I'd sort of be like, well, okay, well, here it is, and I've added this to sweeten the deal, to say sorry. So here you are. Now you're back to normal, but here's the apology on top, that sort of thing. So it's just a bit rubbish, really, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it's a very interesting. If they'd have said, sorry for the outage, if they sent an email saying sorry for the outage, your PS Plus is due to expire here, we're now adding an extra day, I'd have gone, thanks very much, Sony, that's great. But the fact that I have to go onto the code store, enter a code, do all of that, come on.
Yeah.
It's just like I do feel that the Sony network is in a bit of a state. There's been a long running thing about being able to change your name, and I do feel that it's been engineered in a way that it's kind of got itself in a bit of a pickle. That maybe they can't do this. Maybe the only way around it is for you to enter that code, because there are some easy things like merging accounts or changing your name that Xbox and Steam and all of that does just default. And I'm really interested. I'd really be interested to read something later on that says about the Sony network, and whether they're at some point they may change the back end, or maybe they'll wait for a PlayStation 5 if ever we're going to get one.
Yeah, maybe they're just making the best of an old infrastructure because it's just in their view too much money to fix it.
Yeah,
but yeah,
no, indeed.
Another point I was just thinking about as well is like, how much do you put on how much of an amount of money do you put on your free time, your leisure time when you've been hard at work? You put your feet up, you want to have some time with your friends. It becomes a commodity, especially when you're older. You don't get that much chance to just enjoy yourself with a friend on a game. I've paid cleaners in the past to save me cleaning up, because I thought that the amount I paid the cleaner was a small price to pay for me to have that hour or those hours to myself. So that's already saying that I put X amount of cash on my time. So, if it's down for like 1 or 2 hours, really, even on minimum wage, if it's down 2 hours, say minimum wage is, I don't know, say that's £7, that's 14 quid, of somebody's free time. And that's nearly, what's that, a third of a year's worth of the membership.
Yeah.
So when you put it like that, it's kind of not a great recompense. But yeah, at least it's kind of an admission. So yeah, that's something. But yeah, I just think that when you want to play with your friend, you just want to do that. Like you say, you were getting grumpy because EA services now. It tarnishes the night because you're all hyped up. You're looking forward to it, and there is if you put up if you allocate an amount to that, it's more than a day's free PSN.
Yeah.
Because you pay for a year or whatever you pay for that service to work. There's an expectation there. They're offering the service, and when it goes down, it's more detrimental to the gamer than just paying back exactly that time to you, because the moment has passed, the fun has passed, the moment has passed where you were going to hook up. So yeah, I think it should be more than that. I don't exactly know what, and as I say, I'm not expecting running games all the time, but it's just they should be fined or something to make the so that it's more in their interest to make the infrastructure stable. Because I mean, Sony have got a bad rep with it anyway, and it's just like whenever you have a spate that it's working okay, you get things like this come along.
Yeah, I mean, my kind of, I'm laughing about it, but my kind of thing is that you have to enter a code. They could have gone, do you know what? Sorry for that. In next month's PS games, in the PlayStation library, the free stuff, the games on PlayStation Network, whatever it's called, we're going to give you NAC. We'll give away NAC, because no one's playing that game now anyway, so we'll give you NAC. I guess we'll probably be here going, they're giving us NAC, whatever. But, there's nothing they can do. It's just the fact that they kind of make you, they're making you jump through a hoop and put a code in. That just kind of made me chuckle.
Yeah, and I tried, actually. I've just remembered. I got the email, and I was like sat at the menu screen on my PS4, and I thought, I may as well put that code in. Or it might have been on the app. Anyway, whichever it was, I found it I couldn't find where to put the code in. And that's ridiculous, because I put codes in before, or I put it in, I think it was on the app that I was trying to do it. It might have been on the app, and I just put it in and it didn't accept it. And then it all went slow, and then refreshed the screen, and I went all through the rigmarole again, entered the code, and it didn't accept it, and I was like, you know what? Forget it. I can't be bothered.
I'm done. And it's quite funny. They're probably like, let's see how many people do try this, and, not to try and fan the flames of the whole kind of Xboxy thing. But now if you get an email from Microsoft with a code, there's a little button next to it that just says redeem code. Click that, done.
Yeah. Talk about perfect. Much better.
Talk about that's a really good kind of user interface there. Right, next piece of news is with me. Now, The Division. This is an interesting one. This is a game that could potentially divide. See what I did there? The sparks.
Oh, wow.
Because I text you, I think in the week, going The Division. What platform are you playing? I'm trying to find out, who's playing what, where, having a chat with James, and some other guys, just trying to figure out, I want to play like that Ubisoft demo that they did on E3, where everyone's talking, everyone's working together. It seems that was just that Shangri-La of gaming. But the kind of reply back from you was a surprising one, where you're kind of like, Division is completely off your radar, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not playing it, I'm not getting it, I'm not interested in it. That trailer, that was all actors reading from a script. It's not, it fools you into thinking that the game is more than it is, because you don't really get multiplayer gaming like that. But it makes you think it is. I actually, when I watched it, I thought it was in-game speech for a little while. I thought it was like part of the storyline, but that was all contrived. So were the graphics. The graphics were contrived. The blooming orchestrated acting script was contrived. I read a preview of it that said it was like Destiny, in the end, a lot of the enemies like bullet sponges and stuff like that. That was ages ago, I admit. And then I just thought, I'm not bothered. Stepped out. Step off.
I played the alpha. And I was sad when it ended. Due to,
are you still under NDA?
Embargoes. I was sad, and we got a beta coming soon. We got a beta coming, which I'll be able to talk about left, right, and centre. Yeah. And I've pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered it from when I first saw that trailer, when I saw that E3 one, and they said it was from a gaming session that they had earlier in the day. And so, I'm all in, I'm all in. I really want to play this game. I really want to play it with a group of friends that are all on the same, obviously we've got to be on the same platform, but we're all kind of all in the same mind where, there's not anyone who wants to go off and be that kind of, I want to get all the kills. Sometimes when you kind of go online and you play co-op, there's someone who's always showboating or someone who wants to get all of the kills and kind of wants, you just get frustrated with that. I want to play with a like-minded group, and I think there's some friend sets that have got that are kind of that like-minded ilk, where they will happily kind of jump in and be like, okay, you move up there and you move up there. For me, the Division's back to when I used to play Ghost Recon. And I used to play Ghost Recon like that. I remember having 2 original Xboxes land up together, 2 TV, taking a big TV, and TVs were heavy back then, taking TVs around and just doing that, going,
they were heavy, yeah.
Exactly. You move up to there. You move right. Move just a little bit closer. Let's do this. And
was that just you moving the telly? Was that you just?
Yeah, that was just me. Yeah,
you just described me moving the TV.
And then once we finish that, we just know. And I see the Division as that kind of game. Nicola's not interested because she likes her kind of first-person shoot 'em ups to be a bit kind of sci-fi or not kind of in the real world. I don't think she likes kind of shooting. She's never been a fan of like Call of Duty or anything like that. For her, it's Halo, Destiny, Gears of War, that Borderlands, that kind of cartoony or non-realistic kind of game. So that's why I'm looking, and that's why I was surprised to get that reply back from you. But anyway, the Division. So my story about the Division is, we all know it's set in New York, and they have done a 1-to-1 mapping of Midtown Manhattan. So Midtown Manhattan is 1-to-1 mapped in Destiny. If you live in Manhattan, you'll be able to go and find the street and see what your house looks like in a post-apocalypse world. And I am just like, yes, because I want to go to the Flatiron Building. I want to go to that awesome place that I go for breakfast on the Upper West Side. I'm just like, this is what I'm going to be doing in the Division. I'm just going to be kind of doing little tours of New York. So I was quite blown away by this. I can't wait to play this game. I can't wait to play the beta, to just kind of have a look. Obviously, you've got to do it all on foot, because there's no gasoline, there's no petrol in this post-apocalypse world. So you've got to kind of walk. But when I go to New York, we end up walking around anyway. I normally drag Nicola around New York, and it's quite funny. Last time we went, which was end of last year, November, because I've got my watch and the iPhone kind of tracks your steps. It was quite scary to find out how far you do actually walk in one of the Antony days in New York. We really did walk. No wonder our feet ache at the end of the day. But I can't wait to play this. So Manhattan, Midtown Manhattan is all mapped. if you live in Brooklyn, sadly you're out of luck. But who knows? That just sounds like Brooklyn, Queens, New Jersey. That's DLC by the sounds of it.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do. And this is the thing, this is another thing that just sort of made me back off about it. I was really enthused when I first saw it all those years ago at that E3, and I was like, this looks amazing, and I was proper hyped for it. But it's just been too long, and yeah, I don't know. I just lost my enthusiasm for it. But I really look forward to hearing you telling me what it's like, and if you might turn me around. If you're there saying it's the best thing ever, then I may well jump in. But it's something that I'm going to wait and see on.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think it might be a bit of a Destiny game, but kind of a Destiny game that's kind of set in reality. So I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm really kind of I've got my headphones. I'm ready. It's quite interesting because I might have been saying on the podcast, it might have been off podcast, that my Elite 800X, those Turtle Beach ones I had, they were squishing my large melon and hurting after a gaming session. The cups weren't deep
What's your
enough
cup
around
size?
my ears. Yeah, but I have a big ears and I got a big head. There you go. Paints a nice picture of what I look like. And they were hurting because they were like so close to my ears. But I think last time James was on the podcast, I think it was after, he recommended some QPad QH85s. I ordered a pair. They arrived last week and they are perfect. They have deep cups, which is obviously good for my large head and large ears. They have deep cups. The sound is great. The Elites are a little bit more kind of high end. They were wireless, surround sound. They didn't even have a microphone. These ones have a mic. It's like old school gaming. They've got a lead, and I'll be pleased to say that the lead plugs into my Elite controller and works.
Wow, well that's good.
So I did a kind of like with trepidation. I just kind of like, it's not going to work, is it? And I plugged it in, and it worked, and it was great. So yeah, I did actually have to twiddle because I had my Elite 800X, because they come with a little docking station. They were plugged into my Xbox, so they were kind of cutting down everything. They were like, no, you've got those plugged in, so nothing else is going to work. So once I unplugged those, I popped the proper menus, and I was able to kind of set the settings that I could do. So I'm good to go. I've got my headphones. I'm ready. Give me the Division. I think I've still got a month to go. I don't think it's out until March, but like I say, we've got a beta coming end of January, I want to say. So hopefully we'll get to play a slice of that game soon.
Yeah, and I look forward to hearing you talk about it. And please, I'll
get you into it.
Yeah, I'm begging you not to get me into it. Do not get me into it, please.
It's superb.
Yeah, so the next thing's with myself, and that's the news that there's been an announcement from Boris Johnson, and that there's going to be a 1.2 million games initiative in London, and there's going to be a London Games Festival to boot as well. So that's really interesting and good news for Blighty. So Uki and Film London, they've announced the launch of Games London in an effort. They're going to looking to promote the UK's growing video game sector. So that's quite interesting. We've got some healthy exports in the UK with Rockstar North. Anyway, that's a good development house with Grand Theft Auto, and we've got a Media Molecule as well. Another one.
Yep.
So we've got some talent here. I think though we've never got back to the days when we were leading the way. Back in the days of the Spectrum and 64, we sort of had a little brief sort of time when we really sort of forged the way in video games, but that sort of dimmed a few years later as really the East and America sort of took the helm. But yeah, Boris Johnson was saying that he hopes that doing something like this will inject into the capital a passion and enthusiasm for gaming, the same as like Fashion Week has done for London. So I thought that was pretty cool. They expect that the 1.2 million investment could yield in time 35 million back from games profits and create jobs as well. So that's really interesting. And they're going to hold the first London Games Festival in April, this April.
Wow, that's quite quick.
Yeah, so you'll have to keep an eye on that, Antony. I mean, that would have been a little short trip for me a few years ago, but now I'm in the north. It's a little bit far, but it'll be interesting to see what they do. They're going to have EGX's Rezzed event there. They're going to have the BAFTA Video Game Awards, and a game called a 3-day Now Play This event at Somerset House as well.
Oh, fantastic.
And they're going to have all different other events as well around that. So they're going to have a whole hodgepodge of things going on.
Oh, that'd be really cool. That'd be really cool. I remember a couple of years ago, I think it was Guy Cocker who hosted them. He was at GameSpot at that point. There was some talks where they would have a gaming legend, and they would just interview them, but in a crowd. And I always wanted to go to those. So if they have something like that, I'm definitely I'm all in for those, because they would be really cool. So this is happening in April.
Yeah, it's going to happen. The first one's going to happen from the 1st to the 10th of April, 2016. Right. It's going to have a new games finance market event as well, and a series of talks to be held at the BFI South Bank.
Oh, there you go. So that's it. Oh, hello.
Yeah, there's loads of stuff happening. And they've done a little video where Boris Johnson is been rendered in Minecraft, and he delivers the news within a Minecraft world, of like a Minecraft London, and it's a Minecraft Boris talking about it.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. He sort of says, well, yes, so we're going to invest this. That's not a very good impression. But I'll tell you what I'll do to make up for that. I'll put the link in the show notes. And if you're curious, have a look. It also offers some more stats about what they're going to do, some more information. But yeah, it's actually, when you think about the cost of games to develop AAAs, 1.2 million doesn't sound like a lot. But it's something, and it's some recognition, isn't it? So it's a start. And if you can, they're saying that they could yield 35 million from a 1.2 million investment. That's amazing. That's a good turnaround. And hopefully it would just grow from there.
Oh, fantastic. I'm going to keep an eye on that then to see if there are any talks, any interesting people. That'd be really good to kind of go along and have a watch. And it's interesting because there's also the government scheme, isn't there, as well? There's a government scheme that we reported on a couple of podcasts back, where they were talking about they're helping funding indie studios as well. So the UK are really doing a lot to help the games industry kind of revitalise, and like I say, with Media Molecule, with Rare, with Lionhead, we really have some greats in this country, and we really have some, Mike Biffle, who did Thomas Was Alone and Volume. We have some really fantastic developers in this country, so we really should do everything we can to kind of keep that talent here and get it to just to continue doing its fine work.
Yeah, it's symbiotic as well, because what you put in, you're going to get out with more. It's good. So it's good for the economy. It's good for gamers. It's good for gaming. More recognition. I have a strong feeling that starting this as an annual event, this could go massive. With cosplay and all sorts of things going on.
That would be fantastic if we could maybe get our own little kind of mini E3.
Yeah, we used to have ECTS.
We did. We've still got, EGX. So I think that's in Birmingham again next year, isn't it? That used to be in London. But, maybe,
I'm so glad about that, because it's nearer for me. Completely selfishly, but everything's better in London. I can't deny that.
But it'd be good. It'd be good to go along to Rezzed. I know they hold it in Brighton, which is not far from me sometimes. So it'd be good to go along to Rezzed. And like I say, I'll keep an eye on those talks and see if there are any great talks there.
Yeah, cool. So that's that. And then the other piece of news that I've got, and this was an interesting one that I only found out just before we recorded today, was about Minecraft as well. And this is that Microsoft have announced a school version of Minecraft, which is really interesting. Remember we were talking about coding a few weeks ago?
Yes.
Well, this sort of follows on from that a little bit. So Microsoft's creating a version of Minecraft especially for schools. And it just proves more and more how tools and gaming is being used to educate children, and I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing using something that children love to educate them, to teach them. I think the best way of learning is when kids don't realise they're learning. They just think they're, playing around on a game, and they're actually learning how things fit, and logic, and 3D awareness, and eye coordination. There's probably a lot more there that they're learning as well. So yeah, there is a mod. It's based on the mod called Minecraft Edu, and Microsoft have acquired that. They've made an acquisition of Minecraft EDU, which is a mod that's been used in schools, and they're actually developing an expanded version of the mod, and it's going to be called Minecraft Education Edition. The main things that are going to change is going to be that it's going to have some more features. that make it more classroom friendly. So it's going to have things like enhanced maps. So that's going to allow the teachers and the students to traverse the worlds together. An in-game camera that allows students to take snapshots of their progress. They're going to have easier import and exporting world features. A multiplayer mode as well that's going to allow teachers to invite up to 40 students to participate in a game together. So you can imagine they'd have a project, because it encourages team building as well.
It really does, yes.
It was free for a while on Xbox. There was a Minecraft documentary that followed Notch from really before or just as Minecraft was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it went off towards the end of how it's being used in schools in America. Teachers were great advocates of it, saying it really helped team building and problem solving. And so this is sort of the next step with that. It's come to this now where they're actually building Minecraft Education Edition. That's going to go out presumably first over the pond in the States to schools, and they're going to encourage all those things, all those competencies with the children there, and hopefully we'll see it over here too. I think sort of stealth learning, slipping learning in while people think they're playing or they are playing, is a great way to teach. We've got a quote here from Vu. The name's Vu, VU, and then BUI. I think that might be Bui. So I'll say Vu Bui, who's the COO of Mojang. And the quote we've got is from him/her is, one of the reasons Minecraft fits so well in the classroom is because it's a common creative playground. We've seen that Minecraft transcends the differences in teaching and learning styles and education systems around the world. It's an open space where people can come together and build a lesson around near enough anything. So yeah, it's going to be a free trial this summer, and then it's going to go out to everybody. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I'll be very interested to see if that comes to my son's school, and I'll be also asking about how they're going to use it to teach.
Yeah, that's really interesting. God, I'd love to be at school now.
It's great being at school now. You just play games all day and come out with A's.
Exactly. That just sounds so good. I would just nail it at school right now. That's just fantastic. And then, so with that it's maybe time to head over to more future news as we head over to our VR news desk for all the latest in VR. VR desk.
Hey, yeah, here we are at the VR desk. I've just settled myself down. Just moved from the normal gaming desk to the VR desk. The VR desk is a lot more shiny. It's made of titanium.
And you have to strap your Oculus on.
Strap the Oculus on, yeah. I strap that and just sort of stare around, man. So I'm actually talking now into my Oculus Rift, which I don't own. Or don't even have. I'm just making it up because I haven't got a Rift yet. So the first piece of news we've got is about HoloLens.
Yep.
So it's a HoloLens update. There's been some information from an event in Tel Aviv. Bruce Harris, who is a Microsoft technical evangelist, he's told us about HoloLens's battery life, which I've been quite interested in because, that piece of kit is doing a heck of a lot of work.
Yes.
And it's one unit.
Yeah.
It's not tethered to a PC like or another piece of hardware like the other main players. So it's interesting how long it's going to last. So how long is it going to last? Well, when pushed to its limits, they're saying that HoloLens will last around 2.5 hours. Otherwise, if it's not being pushed to its limits, you're looking at just over 5. So I suppose it just depends how long the device is. It's like how long will you be using it? Is it something you just slip on for a little while? In that case, you wouldn't notice 2.5 hours because you slip it on, do whatever you're going to do, and then hang it up.
Yes.
But it's not going to be good for some massive game, is it? But then Microsoft are not saying that HoloLens is for gaming at the moment. They're saying it's more about going into the enterprise and being used for the enterprise. So,
yes.
It's also been confirmed now, that it's totally wireless.
Awesome.
So that confirms that, it's just a unit on your head, which is amazing. Some problems with wires with these other ones. So this hasn't got that. It can connect to any Wi-Fi or Bluetooth-enabled device. And Microsoft are not even going to release a wired version. Their plan is just to have a wireless. The HoloLens is wireless as far as they're concerned.
Right.
It's also going to be able to natively run any universal application that can run on Windows 10. So everything's going to be, crossover, all about universal. It's clues in the name, isn't it? And we've got some information about the field of view, which has always been my gripe with it because I felt we were a little bit misled with the early press releases and demos of it.
Yeah.
So the field of view is currently like a 15-inch monitor approximately 2 feet away from your face.
Okay.
So that's what it looks like at the moment.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So
that's interesting.
That is quite wide.
Yeah.
You know, but it's still... I'm sort of holding my hand in front of my face at 2 feet away and imagining that was the monitor. But the thing is that your immersion is shattered outside of the square, the viewing square. But they are looking into expand that size. It's just about... But they're saying it needs to be economically feasible, so that's going to be expensive to sort out. But, you know, that'll get... As the years go by and Moore's law comes into effect... That'll become more achievable. He also revealed that multiple units can be linked together over the internet, so several users can simultaneously share an experience. So, for instance, in that demo where you saw them walking over Mars, that was actually Mars because the images have been beamed back from that probe.
Mm-hmm.
If me and you had one, we could meet up on Mars, virtual Mars, and have a chat. That's pretty cool.
Yes. But we wouldn't see each other, though, would we? We would just be seeing the same thing.
I think you see like an outline.
Right, okay.
So you can see an outline of each other. Well, depending. I mean, that was a concept, so I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's just fantastic. I mean, like you say, I think the field of view and the battery life, they're the two things that will continue to improve. You know, this is all we've got at the moment are dev kits. So, you know, they are the things that will continue to improve, hopefully.
Yeah. And they need to be a gaming device. Those things need to. I mean, they're not fit for purpose as far. I mean, 2.5 hours battery life's not enough. The field of view's not enough, but they're still going ahead, which is great. You know, it's not getting canned. I think this could be amazing once it's, you know, once it grows and once it's evolved. This is amazing, isn't it? It's amazing tech.
But you imagine putting HoloLens on, right? So you've got HoloLens on. It connects to your Xbox. You're playing Halo or you're playing Fallout or whatever, and it's just there as your inventory. You know, so you can see your inventory, you can see what you've got, you can see your weapons, you can see, and it's just, you know, it just floats over to the side, so it's not interrupting you're looking at your TV gaming, and you've just got this kind of floating over to the left hand side. I can see things like that as a really good device, you know, because for me the plus point out of all of that, what you just said, is that it's wireless. Because as I was saying, when Vive was saying that they might have a groundbreaking technology, and I was like, please let it be wireless, because even if you get your Vive, you get your Oculus, you're going to have wires across your gaming space to where you are, which obviously restricts the length of how far you can be away from your PC or device. So for me, I was like, the wireless thing is the real plus for me, and I know I won't get that in my Gen 1 PlayStation VR that I want, but maybe in Gen 2 or 3 I'll get a wireless at some point.
Yeah, well, I was reading about Vive the other day, about the pre and about the consumer edition, and their goal is to make it wireless, the consumer version.
That would be awesome. That's exactly, you know, that would make me come away from that comfort zone of the PlayStation VR that I have, and that would make me kind of jump in to buy a PC, not even a new PC, but buy a PC and buy something like that if it was wireless, if it was doing that thing different. Because I'd love to just be able to. I don't want, there's some OCD in me that hates wires. You know, I spend a lot of time in my movie room hiding wires. You know, for me, my speaker cables and things like that, they go behind coving, they're in walls. You know, I did a lot so I didn't have visible cable, and you know, and I don't like the fact that it just makes it all look messy. Again, you know, this is just personal preference and because I'm broken, but I don't like those. If there is a wireless version of that would definitely make me purchase or, you know, trade up.
Yeah. I mean, definitely with the Vive, it would be better without the wire, because the wire gets in the way. You know, you can trip over it, it brings you out of the experience.
Yes.
Now, I'm just thinking now, saying that their aim is to be wireless. I'm positive it is, but whether they'll actually do that yet, I'm not sure. But I suppose we'll just see. But they've also announced, well, not really announced, but we've got a price for the dev kits for HoloLens of $3,000.
Right.
So you know, that's quite a lot of money. But again, you know, it's pitched to enterprise, isn't it? It's pitched to enterprise, so it's not so much of a worry, because enterprise can afford it, they can get it into their businesses, they can use it for architecture or whatever it is they want to use it for. And while they're pumping the money in there, it's got to get refined more and more for us gamers.
Yes.
Oh,
damn it! I've just finished my budgets at work. Maybe I should have budgeted in for one of those. I could have just put a line item that just said miscellaneous £3,000. Let's see if I can get it signed off.
Yeah. So I suppose we'll see for certain when we get closer to the pre-orders, which is 29th of January. But yeah, so HoloLens is coming along. Sounds really good. It's not something that I'd recommend as a gamer to get involved with, but I think that one day that's going to be awesome. But I suspect that a lot of that HoloLens magic could be maybe done by the Vive with the use of that camera on the front. Even though they're saying that camera's really, at the moment they're saying really, well, they say the tip of the iceberg is how they finished it, but they said now once you're strapped in, which you couldn't do before, you're going to be able to have that drink. You're going to be able to sit yourself down, do things that you want to do. You would pick this up, pick that up, which was a question about people had. It's like how do you drink your coffee when you're in the middle of a VR game? Now you can with Vive, but I see that they could use that to do a bit of mixed reality. And they did say, HTC Vive said, this is the tip of the iceberg of the uses that we foresee with this. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. There's been a few PSVR price sightings in the wilds of the internet as well.
Oh, yeah! I imagine you like a kind of David Attenborough.
Here we are.
Here we see the PlayStation VR in its natural, kind of going through the wild grass.
Yeah. So I'm parting the brush here with my hands, and we see they're resting a native PSVR undisturbed at this price,
just sitting there.
Yeah,
and so what's our price range? Because because we got the price, everyone kind of got the price wrong with Oculus. So what's
including Oculus? Oculus got the price wrong with Oculus.
Yeah. So what's the price range? What's the range? Hit it. Sock it to me, Darren.
So what we've got 3 different sites have been seen. They were Swiss sites, and we've got one came in at €450, one at €505, and one at €495. So what's that in pounds? Let's have a look. So €495 in pounds.
Current exchange rate is about 1.27.
£381. So it's 495. Look at 381 quid, which you could argue is about the price that a PS4 has been at one point or another. So there you go. Those sites came up at that.
Very interesting. I do think that this is going to be. I would happily buy. I'm going to buy it anyway, but I would happily buy it if it was below 300. I think that would be a happy purchase.
Yeah, there's a big there's a big crowd on the internet saying that's too high. Mm-hmm. I'm getting the picture that the internet seems to want $299, which means we'd probably get it at £299, and I think that's fair enough. I think that'd be a fair price point for it. If it came in at 300 quid or $299.99, it'd sort of be like, yeah, okay. But more than that, it starts to chafe a little bit. But I suppose it depends how good the experience is. What will it be like? Who knows? So,
yeah. Well, we've got a month, haven't we, until Vive pre-orders go on sale. So hopefully they will give us a price point at that. It's the 29th of February. We reported last week. So come on, Sony. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Shuhei, where is it? Where's our price? Give us our price for VR.
Yeah, we're waiting. We're on tenterhooks. But maybe they're going to, like we said last week, maybe they'll let it die down for the PC players and then deliver it sort of isolated so they can keep all that console VR goodness and not be sort of polluted by the buzz that's going around for Vive and Oculus. But yeah, so I thought it'd be interesting to look at some PSVR games that are coming up. So we've talked about some of them before, but what have we got that's coming? What about the actual games instead of just us just speculating about, wouldn't this be great? So we're going to get, on PSVR, we're going to get Ace Combat 7. That looks really good, and it's going to lend itself really well because you're in a cockpit. Any game that you're in a cockpit or a driving seat is going to work VR really well because you're there, sat down. And I wouldn't need a Vive for that because you don't need to walk about. But yeah, that, I bet if they do Ace Combat 7 well, it's like a Top Gun sort of, for people that don't know, it's an airplane dogfight game. It could turn your tummy, couldn't it? Quite a bit.
It really could. I was just thinking that. I just kind of chuckled. I was thinking, God, that's going to make me throw up.
Doing like, I don't know, 1,080 degree rotations in the middle, in the midair, who knows what speed, like Mach 3, while chasing another guy. Oh man, it makes me want to play flipping Star Wars in the X-Wing. Like in there, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. If you imagine the immersion that's going to give you with that would be incredible. It would just be such an amazing experience, I think.
Yeah, for all people that like have always wanted to sort of fly, and I know that's why you play, say, a flight simulator, or you play these like afterburner type games. But this is going to be as close, because you see people setting up rigs, don't you, with like all monitors sort of hooked up all around them to sort of have a virtual cockpit.
Yeah.
And you just pull these down and you're going to be in that cockpit. And I played Elite Dangerous a little bit on Oculus. And you look around the cockpit, it's amazing. I remember, because when I used to play Elite, the very first Elite that I played was on the Commodore 64, not its native home of, I think, the BBC Micro. It may be the BBC Micro. It might be another system. But I used to have to press the function keys or the number keys to look left, look right, look rear, for the views, because there was no such thing as like scrolling round. And you put on the Oculus and you're in the cockpit and you look down and you see the control panel in front of you, and you've got like a throttle and stick, and you see the virtual hands on them, and your hands are there. But even better than that, when you move there, you see the hands moving, which is amazing. But I looked round the cockpit and I saw the side view by looking to the left, looking to the right, looking behind me. It was, but I could see the shimmering on the glass of the cockpit as well. And then outside was space. I was orbiting a planet, big blue planet, with the sun just in the distance, glinting off the planet, when asteroids were all around me. And it took my breath away, And thinking about that, when I said the simplicity of looking left and right then in a game, that's what the Wii had, isn't it? That like non-gamers could just pick it up and it was instantly obvious what to do because they had the thing in their hand. Maybe not the price, obviously, but maybe because some games it'll be so natural because it's like, just look around. Maybe it could have that hook, or part of the hook that the Wii had,
Yeah, no, indeed. I think maybe not from Gen 1, but I think, when they... And again, we're going through some of the titles we've got now. It's all down to the software, isn't it? It's all down to those games. If they can get some killer games, the Wii, the thing that had everybody playing, the thing that had my parents playing, was I took up my Wii, they played Wii Sports, they had a look, they were instantly hooked at, as you say, how easy it was to bowl, to play tennis, and to whatever the other one was as well, that they
bowling. You said bowling, didn't you?
Yeah, bowling, tennis, and golf. My dad loved the golf. My dad thought the golf was just hilarious. And then and it was. And I took my Wii up. We had Christmas. My mum was all over it, and she was really enjoying it. And then I rang them a couple of weeks later after Christmas, and they're like, "We bought Wii," and I was floored that my parents, who always thought that I was wasting my time playing games, had bought a Wii because I took it up there. I remember my mum getting down to Dance Revolution because I took up my Xbox and Kinect, and she thought that was hilarious. And she, even after that, she was like, "Where do I get one of those dance games? Can I get it on the Wii?" And I was like, "No, it's Xbox only." And I thought my mum was going to have as many consoles as I did at one point. So, and that's what you need. You need that title. If there's something that you can put on your parents and they love it, then it just becomes, like you say, it's just looking left and right, and they'll absolutely love it. And I think those experiences, those little kind of things, I think we're probably more keen to getting those on the PC than we will PlayStation 4, but they need to come bundled with a whole bunch of demos. When people come around, when your mate Gav comes around to your house, you want to be able to strap the PlayStation VR on him and go, "Look at this," and then they will just be blown away, and they will just be totally immersed in it.
Yeah, he's the benchmark, really, because he's the first one that's going to take great relish in telling me I've wasted my money. So it's always I get the truth from Gav, I always want to impress him, but he won't hide his thoughts from me. But yeah, when like VR becomes cheap enough that you can just stick it on, that it would be accessible for about £300 to people. You could imagine your parents coming home, just putting something on. You say, "Yeah, go and walk around this place." They're like, "Wow, but this is here. I can't believe I'm walking at the bottom of the Grand Canyon." And then they're like, "Go and get one." I can imagine that. It'd be like they become savvy like the internet. But like, I'm on board with VR for the experiences. I'm sold on the experiences alone. So the games is like a bonus for me. But anyway, talking about the games, what else have we got apart from Ace Combat? We've got Gran Turismo Sport.
Right.
That should be great. You're sat in a car. It's going to work really well.
Absolutely, and as we reported a couple of weeks ago, we also saw that Drive Club will be VR compatible as well.
Yeah, that was your scoop, and a great scoop it is too. Yeah, and Until Dawn, Rush of Blood. So Until Dawn's bringing out some weird spin-off shooting game, which I think kind of might tarnish the name of Until Dawn. Why do they have to call it Until Dawn? It looks like a House of the Dead type of game.
Yeah, why do they need to do Until Dawn? Why don't they just have Rush of Blood rather than kind of tarnish, this
just call
awesome
it House of the
franchise
Dead or something?
Yeah,
because I love
call it Rush of Blood. Just call it Rush of Blood, and that's it. Done.
Yeah, yeah. So this is going to be a kind of House of the Dead shooty game, on rails shooter.
Right.
I don't really know what benefit it's going to get from being Until Dawn, but I suppose the good thing is maybe it's a sign that PlayStation are behind Until Dawn, and we might get some more stuff that's not on rails and not VR. Robinson: The Journey.
Yeah, sign me up, Buttercup.
Yeah, looking absolutely gorgeous from Crytek.
It's got dinosaurs in, hasn't it?
Yeah, and Crytek, they've got a reputation for stunning, beautiful games.
Yes.
And this looks absolutely beautiful. Dinosaurs. It's going to be good. 100-foot robot golf. Hooray!
Yes!
We all know that's going to be fine. Say what you see.
Yep.
That looks like a lot of fun. I'm really hoping that that's going to have multiplayer, both online and co-op, because it's going to support more than just one person on the VR. So that'd be interesting, at least as far as I've been led to believe. And Final Fantasy 14.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know how that's going to work. Maybe it's just, maybe you play it exactly the same, but you've just got a 360, like a panoramic view. Not a 360, 720. You can look all the way around. So and maybe they'll just, like you say, we could just add that to any game, and you play it just normally, but when you look round, you can just see around the whole world. Don't know.
Yes.
Don't know how that would work.
Absolutely, and also, as well as that list, I was listening to a interview with Mike Biffle, and he was a little bit loose-lipped about Coda, Volume Coda. So anyone who owns Volume on PlayStation 4 or Vita right now will get a free update as and when, called Volume Coda. And this adds 30 levels. It's a new story to Volume. See it as a bit of an epilogue to the story. It's not first-person mode, but they have managed to figure out a VR. This is a quote from Mike Biffle: a VR way of playing.
Okay, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? They've got to find ways to play that fit with the VR experience. It's not as simple as just taking whatever it is and just like, bosh, now it's VR. Deal with it. This is a whole new horizon for us. It's a whole genre seems too small a word, but it's a whole new platform, isn't it? So
it really is.
We're going to find, the developers are going to find new ways for us to play with and interact with these new applications of VR, and it's really exciting. So that's 6 games to look forward to on PSVR, and there's going to be lots more coming because, as we reported last week, there's like over 100 being worked on at the moment, and we have information and news that Sony Computer Entertainment Japan and Asia's president, Atsushi Morita, he's been having a chat with Famitsu, big Japanese gaming magazine. He had an interview with them, and he was talking about the different elements that he wants in VR, that he feels that are important in VR. And the first element, he says, is to make players feel as if they're in the game. So it's all about the immersion. These are probably going to sound pretty obvious and like common sense, but you want to make the player feel like they're actually in the game. So he's probably talking about seamless. Once you're in there, you're there in the world. You're not being disturbed by the things around you. And I think, there, like Oculus and PSVR, being seated and in one spot, as long as the game is suited to that, you're going to be more immersed than tripping over a wire in Vive or something, aren't you? So he says that's what it's all about. First and foremost, make the players feel like they're in the game. He also said that he wants to convey the depth and the potential of the headset. He doesn't want it to end shortly. He doesn't want this PSVR to be a fad. He said that he doesn't want it to end shortly after a big boom. So it arrives, bang, everyone's like going on about a big buzz, and then it's just, like a damp squib just sort of goes and just filters away. He doesn't want that. So he said that. And then secondly, he said it's very important that the PSVR and the PS4 are used together. So he wants it that, like, the experience of PSVR is going to get people interested in PlayStation in general, so he's hoping that that's going to spread and get more people to take up PS4 as well. And it's not only that you'd get a PS4 to get the VR, but when you see the VR, it'll give you a reason to get the PS4. So he's hoping that it's going to work both ways. When you see you might try on a VR at a friend's house, but it's also hoping that it's not just going to be about VR, but the whole package.
Got you.
He says that they're working hard at Sony to allow everyone to experience the headset before release, which is nice, because it's difficult to try on a Vive or a Rift. It's not easy to get hold of these devices to have a go before paying your money. So that's nice. That's just words at the moment. We'll have to see what happens with that and how they do it. I mean, I'm expecting that Game will probably get some in, but there's going to be massive queues to have a go. So it'll just depend on your patience threshold. And the third element of his equation is supporting the game developers. All important aspects of this is supporting the developers, obviously. You need the developers to bring the ideas and the games in there and the experiences. So he says, whether the world of VR will be interesting or not will depend on the imagination of those who create the games. And it's also important to welcome ideas that aren't games. This is where I'm coming from, probably with my experiences that I'm looking forward to, and to plan carefully on what kind of experiences should be sold. And interestingly, he says, and in what order, which is it's an interesting way of phrasing it, that, isn't it? So, say they've got lots of different experiences of all different kinds. They must have had some kind of epiphany where they think this one here wouldn't be wise because they need to get. It's as if they're going to have to release them in an order that, like a game, really. It's got to start at easy mode to get everybody used to it. And maybe some of the experiences are just a little bit too, like, whoa, to experience straight away. That's what I take from that. That they can't sort of make it over complex too quickly or something. What do you think about that statement?
Yeah, because you're right. Once you strap that on, and like you say, if it doesn't make sense, if it's too hard to kind of get used to it, you know what it was like when you first had Kinect. It was quite hard to try and get it in the right spot, and then people get flustered about it. They get a little bit frustrated. So you're right. You have to just ease people in, and it's almost like you need like an initiation demo, and that's what I was saying about this has to come packaged with some demos that will enable you to go, okay, first of all, we want you to look, it's like the start of a game, the start of every first-person shoot 'em up, where they're like, oh, you've been a bit groggy, let's have a look left, let's look right. You need that. You need to be able to kind of have that test before you can jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree completely with that. But that would be like, one, like sort of a demo disc, wouldn't it? And it could have several experiences at different levels of complexity, and then you'd be initiated, wouldn't you? Mm-hmm. So it's strange that he says, we've got to think about the experiences and releasing them in a certain order. I don't know. Maybe it's like too much to handle. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when we finally get there. By the end of the year, we'll know a bit more. Well, a lot more, because all three will be out there. By June, I suppose. But I wonder what the waiting times are going to be like, especially for us in Britain. It's going to be interesting to see what the shipping times are going to be like because, at the moment you said Vive was up to June, was it?
Yeah, no, Oculus was up to June.
Oculus
was June last week, when I went to shop.oculus.com. So obviously Vive is the 29th of February, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. But like PlayStation VR, I want that day one. I'll be really annoyed if I don't.
Yeah. And I read that the first shipment of the Vive sold out in 14 hours before it shifted to another date. So let's just have a look. It's now July 2016.
Wow. So it is creeping up.
It is creeping up.
I can see that when that goes out, when that is finally released, I think it's April, isn't it? It was the first date. I think when that's released, I can see that eBay will be rife with that. I know they haven't sold out, and you'll be able to get yours by July, but there'll be a lot of people that maybe just kind of were hovering, thinking about it, and then haven't done so. And then soon as the hype and the Twitter starts talking about it, and people start posting pictures, you can see people will go straight to eBay, and that's when there'll be a lot of money to be had.
Yeah, it seems with Oculus, you're paying for shipping from the States, so it's like their distribution's in the States and then they're just shipping them all out from a central place. Vive, I don't know. I suspect it will be the same because Valve's got Steam. I don't know with Vive, but with PlayStation, they've already got distribution channels because of distributing the hardware for the consoles. So it might be easier to get it. You'll actually be able to buy it in the country, your territory, rather than having to send off abroad for it. Do you think?
Well, I've already had an email from Amazon to say, VR's coming, register your interest here for PlayStation VR.
Okay, so it'd be as simple as ordering it from Amazon, just getting it in the normal way.
Yeah,
so not through just through Oculus per se, but you can just get it from the usual places. That's interesting. So as you would a console.
Exactly. If you type in PlayStation VR into Amazon right now, Sony PlayStation VR is available there. You can click on it and you can say sign up to be alerted. You put in your email address and they'll alert you when those pre-orders are coming.
Wow, it's not got a mistake. Has it got the release date on there? They've not hidden it.
No, it's saying it's $399. No, there's nothing there. But coupled with that, underneath that they've got No Man's Sky. Underneath that they've got the PlayStation 4 camera.
Yeah.
Underneath that they've got a cardboard toolkit to make your own virtual reality for $15.99. So yeah, I mean that's available. Like they've also got Oculus Rift and HTC Vive in the same search as well.
Are you going to get a PlayStation camera and some Move controllers before PSVR comes out?
I am indeed, because I remember you saying a couple of weeks ago, it's a good time to get it now while they're low, because when it, when all of that comes out, they'll be full price, won't they?
Yeah, I did some searching around. Amazon are pretty cheap, but Game have got some good deals as well on the cameras. Right. And if you're not bothered about pre-owned, I think you can get one for like £37 from game.co.uk. So yeah, I thought that was quite reasonable. I didn't look at Move controllers because I've got some. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do think it will be a sad day. It will be a sad day, but I do think I will be replacing my my Kinect camera, which currently sits below my central speaker in the movie room. I think and that again, with me hating wires, is actually it drills through into my chimney breast, and then it goes. There's some wire that I've got some trunking that then takes it into the media cabinet where my Xbox is. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be unplugging that, threading that through, and I'll be replacing it with a PlayStation camera.
Isn't there room for both?
No, I don't think so. It would look a bit messy, and the hole that I created, because I thought Kinect was going to be ginormous with Xbox One, because I was wrong. I only made a hole for one, so that would mean drilling and doing a lot of stuff for that. So I'm just going to replace it with the Sony camera.
Okay, fair enough.
So I'll have a ceremony when I do it. I'll play. I've still got what was the Rare game? The Kinect Adventures. Was it Kinect Adventures? The Extreme Sports game by Rare.
Oh right, yeah. Connected. It was Connected Ventures. Yeah,
I still have that. I still have that game, so maybe I'll have a weekend of just playing that before I unplug it.
A farewell adventure.
Exactly. Just a farewell as I unplug the Kinect.
Yeah, it still galls me that they could have just had it as a speaker. A microphone. It could have just been a microphone, and it would have been great. And it probably could have been wireless, Bluetoothed. And it would have done, all the functionality that I use it for is all just voice control. And if they'd have I think that would have been so cool. Forget about the motion stuff, but if they'd just brought out a Bluetooth microphone that made the Xbox respond to your voice, you could have it right next to you as well, so we wouldn't get annoyed by my centre speaker, for instance. Well,
yeah, I mean, the other day, I'm a big fan. I love Kinect, and I do like Xbox On and Next, and when I'm playing, when I'm watching Amazon or stuff like that. But the other day, I walked into the movie room. I was like, Xbox On. It didn't come on.
Oh, it's embarrassing.
Xbox On, and I'm just like, Xbox On. And I'm used to it working now. With my watch, I'm like, hey Siri, create an appointment for next Tuesday at 9. Does it?
Yeah.
My watch, the Bing does it. Hey Siri, just press the button and say, can I have a stopwatch for half an hour? Does it? And I was just thinking, Xbox On, and I was just, and then I don't know what it is. I did I haven't moved anything around, but I did a reconfiguration, and it just, for some reason, my Kinect's sad. It's not picking it up for some reason. So it really annoyed me. So I'm like, your days are numbered.
Yeah, make a fool out of me, will you, Kinect? Off to the cupboard.
Yeah, make me look stupid in front of the wife, will you?
Yeah, I told her this. You were the best thing since sliced bread. You do this to me.
Well, exactly. I mean, when I put together the movie room, the Xbox was out, and when I was putting all of the designs and all the diagrams together, Kinect was front and center underneath that central speaker. It looks cool. It looks fantastic. But it has made a fool out of me.
Yeah, it's made a monkey out of all of us. Damn you, Kinect.
Superb. So, is there any more fab news from our VR desk?
Yeah, we've got a few more points. For instance, our mate Michael Pachter has put his £2 in about the price of PSVR. He says he reckons it's going to be about $400.
Fair enough.
So,
I think he's right. We could have just asked us. We were saying that weeks ago. Wake up, Pachter.
And we're not analysts like him. We're not getting paid the big bucks for it, are we? But we said the same.
Yeah.
So why aren't we getting paid the big bucks? Maybe we should let him know. We've said that 2 weeks ago. Pachter.
Do you know what? We should just start tweeting. Analysts, Lost Spark, think that PlayStation VR will be released in 2016. Yeah. They were, wow.
Yeah. He was talking about it on his latest episode. He's got a new video cast called Pachter Factor. Right. So he's back on the scene. So he said that he thinks that it's likely to be $400. It's going to be hard. If you actually look at the headset, there's a lot there. So I think it's going to be hard to price it below $300. It's possible if they believe they're going to make enough of them. I mean, he just says random stuff, like we all do. It's speculation, He also said that he thinks the Sony's headset could be very successful compared to Rift because of its accessibility to the install base, which we've said as well. No, I haven't picked this article just to say that we've said everything he said, by the way. And he also said that a lot of people don't really have the high-end PC lying around, whereas a lot more people are likely to have a PS4, which we've also said. So basically, I should have added that bit in because we've already said it. But I suppose it's interesting to see that a big analyst like Michael Pachter is echoing things that we discuss regularly on the podcast as well. It's interesting. It makes me feel confident that we're on the money, Antony.
It really does. We know our stuff. This VR news desk is made of stern stuff, sir.
It is. It's the titanium desk, you see. Stern stuff. You could eat your dinner off it. It's so shiny and clean.
Exactly. We do our research. We know our VR. No one can mess with you, sir, when it comes to VR. You wear VR pyjamas to bed, I bet.
Oh, don't say that. You scare me. It's an image no one wants of my virtual pyjamas.
No, we want actual pyjamas. We don't want virtual ones.
Exactly. So just leave that image. Leave that image there. Actually, it reminds me of something else I did this week that I didn't mention. I forgot about it. I spent some time this week preparing myself for the advent of Vive, right, and putting some thought about actually how much it might be. So I prepped myself and started looking into how much it would cost for the PC to run it. So my first stop was the graphics card shop. So I thought, right, let's have a look. Let's see how much graphics cards are. What do I need, first of all? Now, in all likelihood, the minimum spec for the Oculus Rift is a NVIDIA GeForce GTX. Is it 570? Is it 570 or 470? I think it's 570.
Right.
Let me just check that out a minute. NVIDIA GTX 580. It's 570, I think. Yeah, 570 is a thing, so I think it's that. So 570 graphics card, okay? They come in for about £300 to £400. Say £300. But what you're really going to want is probably above that. So you're looking at NVIDIA GTX 580 card or a 580 Ti. All of a sudden you get into £500 to £600.
Wowzers.
For the card. And then there's the NVIDIA Titan card, which is coming in at about £800 to £900. And I was like, okay, probably the best one then would be the 580.
Right.
So I was like, crikey, that's more than I thought, straight off. Then I was looking at the CPUs, probably want an i7. And that was coming in about 300. I was basically like at £800-900 before I knew it. And that didn't include, the other things aren't too bad in cost. You've got the RAM and a solid-state drive for the operating system and maybe a mechanical drive for the rest. The case, I think I might have mentioned the RAM already. It just adds up. These little bits, they sort of add up. And I was like, crikey. I sort of built one. I threw in a 4K monitor. This was on overclockers.co.uk. Threw in a 4K monitor and a Titan card, and I was at something like 1,700 quid, or maybe $2,000. And I sort of thought that was a good deal for what I'd put in there, but I thought that's more than I wanted to spend. So I had a bit of a reality check. I was like, oh, crikey. It's really going to, depend on how much they're going to pitch the Vive at as to how good a PC I can get. And if I can't get a PC that's good enough to run Vive, there's not really any point in getting Vive. So it's interesting. I thought that the components, because I've been out of the PC market for a while, since Half-Life 2 really was the last time when I gave up on graphics cards, when I decided that I'd spent the equivalent of a console on a graphics card, and that hasn't changed. I thought it might have changed a little bit, but it hasn't. So I was like, oh man, am I doing the right thing? Is it really right to spend like a lot of money for VR? Because I've been so passionate and so determined, I just thought I'll just take a bit of a reality check and have a think about this. And I was thinking, if it is a fad, if it's something like my BB-8, my Sphero BB-8 that I played with for 5 minutes and just sort of sits on the shelf, it's like, crikey, it's be a bit of a faux pas, wouldn't it? So it just made me think, it's a lot of money to invest. So there you go. I just thought.
No, it is. I think I've done the same thing on scan.co.uk when Oculus came out, because I was very tempted.
You said you were going to. Yeah.
Exactly. And I was looking at those VR ready, because I think it's GeoForce that they have. They have a sticker, similar to 4K ready. They have a GeoForce VR ready sticker, and I was looking at the VR ready boxes that they have on scan.co.uk. They were coming up. They were like 15, anywhere between kind of 15 to 1,700.
Yeah, and I was sort of planning originally that I'd have it all covered with 1,500 quid, including the Vive. And now I think it's more like you just said, 15 to 1,700 quid for the PC with Vive on top. So you're touching probably £2,200 to £2,300. It's quite a lot, isn't it?
It really is. And then, considering potentially £300 to £400, you get a PlayStation VR to test the water, and if you're absolutely blown away by it, then you think about maybe PC. As we've said time and time again, I think you are going to get different experiences. You'll get some more indie-like experiences on PC, but if they start making a noise and making a splash on Oculus or Vive, Sony are gonna snatch them up straight away, because this isn't something that Sony want to fail, so they're going to put a lot behind it. And you're already seeing that with things like Gone Home. They make a splash in the indie scene, on the PC indie scene, and then both Sony and Xbox are then going, right, we want that. We want that in our idea Xbox. We want that in our PlayStation 4. So you would start seeing the same things in the VR market as well.
Yeah, and we don't know the price of the PSVR yet, but we do know that they're aiming for a price that, compared to the big boys, it really is a price that you can sort of say, well, I'll suck it and see. I'll see if I like it. It's like, it's a tenth of the price.
Well, for you and I, it's going to be, a lot more than that, because we don't have to plump out for a brand new PC.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm talking about. PC plus Oculus or PC plus Vive.
Yep.
That's a heck of a lot of cash. I'm imagining, say it's 2,000, £2,500.
Yeah, just say £2,000. £2,000. Let's go £2,000 for that against 400
quid, 400 quid, yeah.
400 pounds. So that's just like,
it's a big difference, isn't it? So, yeah, But the thing is, you get that walk-around thing with Vive, you get that holodeck experience, but I'm just going to have a think. When I've got some more information, when I know the price, what Vive is, just see what the shout is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so, the final piece of news on the VR desk today is a bit of news about Palmer Luckey, the Oculus founder. It turns out, I've read rumours of this before, but it's actually, it looks like he's going to have a lawsuit against him and his Facebook-owned VR company, because a judge has ruled now that a breach of contract claim can proceed.
Wow.
That's from Reuters. It's
a breach of contract on what? On the price, or?
No, what happened is he worked for another company.
Oh, okay.
And he signed a deal with a company called Total Recall.
Right.
Which is an awesome name for a company.
Yeah.
This was in 2011, and that contract was for him to develop a virtual reality device before he kicked off with Oculus. The company alleges that he breached confidentiality and contract and used the company's confidential information to create his successful Kickstarter campaign that we now know is the Oculus campaign, and which led to the $2 billion acquisition by Facebook.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, I mean, they'll be, presumably, if it's breach of contract, they'll have that contract. And yeah, this has been, I've read rumours about this for a while now, but yeah, this is concrete. A judge has ruled that the breach of contract claim can proceed. So this is going to go. It's going to go to court, and we'll see what happens. There's a lot of money at stake.
I tell you something, if it does go to court, a lot of those documents will then be made public access. There'll be a lot of information about Oculus and how it's built and the tech behind it that will become available to the populace. Wow, which could mean sort of like indie hardware, indie VRs being made. Oh, absolutely, because I think we saw this before where there was something that went to court, and then by doing that you start getting like kind of design documents and release documents, because what I guess this company Total Recall is going to try and prove is that all of this was already happening at their company when Palmer Luckey went elsewhere. Yeah,
basically he was supposed to do this for us, but for whatever reasons unknown, he decided to take all this that he was supposed to do for us and go off and do it himself. He started because of Kickstarter, because of the advent of Kickstarter, and then Facebook eventually got interested as well. But essentially, he was signed to do that work for us. And I mean, if we got that in black and white, there's not much you can say. So, and presumably they must have some serious evidence, because otherwise, well, I don't know how it works. I'd imagine that they must have pretty concrete evidence to march out on this endeavour. I mean, they're going to fight the lawyers of Facebook. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out.
That'd be really interesting, and sounds like another movie where Daniel Radcliffe is going to star.
It does. Beards are plenty.
Daniel Radcliffe will play Palmer Luckey. And that's about it for this episode. A big thank you for listening to the Lost Spark episode 34. Don't forget, you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter. We're at Lost Spark Pod. We're on YouTube, and you can also find us on the PS4 Gamers of Lost Spark community, where you can see Darren's trophies that he's posted. I'm going to take a look at that when I fire up my PlayStation in a bit. So Darren, where can we find you online?
Yeah, you can get me as Wythermator on PS4, Xbox One and Twitch, Dazagamer on YouTube, and at Daz Whittam on Twitter.
Fantastic. From me, I'm Chessman on Xbox Live. I'm PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and I'm also Chessman UK on Twitter. If you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That email address is feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. Also, if you're feeling generous, please leave us a review on iTunes. It helps the pod get noticed and get onto that all-important main page. Just as note, we've had another great review last week. A big thank you to a chap, K. Grew. Brilliant podcast from the guys, he says. Listen to it every week without fail. After listening to the podcast and the great things they were saying about Batman Arkham Knight, who could that have been? I went out and bought a PlayStation 4 and the game. Since then, I've bought quite a few more games and subscribed to the PlayStation Network. I'm loving my system gaming, and I want to thank the guys for getting me excited and having a console again. Roll on more episodes. Thank you very much, K. Grew. That is a wonderful review and loved it. Don't forget, we will put a link to iTunes if you would like to give us a review. So that's about it for this podcast. I'm going to go and play some more Uncharted. Catch you later. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Bye until dawn, everybody. Goodbye.